from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. CSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's the opener of a 3-game series between the Astros and the Minnesota Twins. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown along with Alan Ashby and Julia Morales. The Twins just made a trade before the game tonight. We'll get back to that later. The Astros won 2 of 3 when they were in Minnesota. They just took 2 of 3 from the Rangers, Ash.
They played pretty well in spurts. They've had issues sometimes falling back on old ways when they get done with those nice little spurts. But they do come off a nice series.
Brad Peacock goes to the mound tonight. He's been a struggling right-hander for the Astros. He's really had difficulty locating especially his fastball, so that's mission number 1 for him tonight.
Well, you can see in this heat map right here, it's kind of all over the place, and then when he does find the strike zone, it tends to be right in the heart of the strike zone, and that has left hitters with plenty to be able to swing at and hit sharply. Brad Peacock, in recent games, it has looked a lot like this. And it leads to pitching from behind and then having to come right down the middle. And at that point, again, it's just not working out real well. The numbers here in July and August, not good at all in terms of the ERA. 8.40 in July, 14.40 in August. The numbers have just gotten tougher and tougher to deal with. And for Brad, no doubt a very rough stretch.
Joe Mauer comes off the disabled list tonight, and he went on the DL with a 12-game hitting streak. He's a former multiple batting champion, as you know, but not able to approach the numbers he put up earlier in his career, Ash.
Former MVP as well, a guy that behind the plate was one of the game's outstanding players because the offense was so tremendously above what other guys could do as a catcher. But his numbers have steadily declined in recent years offensively, and the injuries have continued to mount. But given the chance, he can still swing that stick.
Coming up, 10,000 rakes. The Astros turned Minnesota into the land of 10,000 rakes in their last encounter with the Twins pitching staff. Julia Morales revisits that series and discusses the Astros' plans for continued success at Minute Maid when we return. Houston Astros baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is presented by Jack in the Box. Right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. And by AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world.
3-game series. The Minnesota Twins and Astros facing off for the second time this season. And when you bring up the Twins, good memories come back to the guys in the Astros clubhouse. They took 2 of 3 in that series in Minneapolis. And a couple of guys having some really great games offensively. This series happened early June. John Singleton had just been in the big leagues a couple of weeks, but we saw one of his biggest hits of the season, his first career grand slam off of all-star closer Glenn Perkins. That wasn't the only grand slam in that series finale, though. Along with Singleton's came Chris Carter's opposite field home run. That was a grand slam, his first career. That was off Brian Dunsing, and that put the Astros on top 9-3. They ended up winning that game by many runs, feeling good coming off that trip. Chris Carter, of course, feeling good right now, but that was what got him started in early June after a couple of rough months to start the year. Of course, he's feeling much better in this groove since July 1st. He's feeling good. And the club really happy with the way they're playing baseball right now. A tough loss yesterday, but the way they finished the series off with the 2 out of 3 against the Rangers, couldn't be more happy with the way they've been playing here recently. They look to do more of the winning tonight against the Minnesota Twins as they face them in game 1 of a 3-game set. Jose Altuve looks to get them started off. Tommy Malone going for the Twins. Don't go anywhere. The first pitch and lineups are coming up next.
Second basemen are featured on these 2 clubs tonight. The Astros All-Star Jose Altuve, and he is having another marvelous season. He's back in the lead in batting average at .335 in the American League.
And leading in stolen bases, Jose Altuve just having a great season. Minnesota Twins have a good second baseman of their own, All-Star Brian Dozier, hitting just .240, but has 20 home runs on the year and 51 ribbies. Different style of play, in both cases effective for their ball clubs.
Taking a look at those different styles and the numbers that add up for them. Dozier does not hit for the batting average, but with 20 homers, he's driven at 51. He has a 3.5 offensive WAR. Altuve has a 4.4 offensive WAR. So it's going to be fun to watch these two battle each other during this 3-game series. Twins are 52-64. The Astros 49-69. Not that far apart in wins and losses between these 2 clubs. And we see some lightning outside, and there may be some rain around, but this game will start, of course, as always, on time with this starting lineup. For the man who went to the University of Texas, Ron Gardenhire, he goes with center fielder Danny Santana. Second baseman Brian Dozier. First baseman Joe Mauer returns from the DL tonight. The DH is pronounced Kenny, even though it's got an S on the end. Kenny Vargas. Third baseman Trevor Plouffe. Catcher Kurt Suzuki, right fielder Chris Parmalee, shortstop Eduardo Escobar, left fielder former Astro Jordan Schaefer.
On the mound for the Astros, it's 26-year-old right-hander Brad Peacock. It's been a tough year. 3-8, 5.44 the ERA, and the last couple of starts have been even tougher. One at Oakland, one at Philadelphia. A total of 8 2/3 innings and 15 earned runs in those two games. Also 9 walks. He's given up a load of home runs this year, 14 of them. So it's just been a tough year for Brad trying to find that strike zone tonight.
His first inning ERA 7.04. It is dark out there. We've been seeing flashes of lightning. There you see it in the distance as Peacock gets it started with Danny Santana. Santana had a big series against the Astros in the Twin Cities, taking ball 1 there. He starts tonight at .315. He has 5 homers, 27 runs batted in to lead American League rookies in batting average. Peacock slots the fastball over the inside edge. That evens the count at 1-1. Santana went 6 for 15 against the Astros in Minnesota with a homer and 7 runs batted in that 3-game series. Had a 4-hit game in game 2 of that series. He lines the low fastball into right field, and Santana's aboard. Good looking young player who probably will take over at shortstop, we hear, for the Twins next year.
Defensively for the Astros tonight, and there's no way to defend that last shot. Outfield left to right. Domingo Santana gets the start, 3rd time in left field. Jake Marisnick in center and Robbie Grossman in right. On the infield left side, Matt Dominguez and Gregorio Petit. On the right, it's Jose Altuve and John Singleton. Jason Castro is the man behind the plate.
Brian Dozier's the batter. Dozier gets a fastball, puts it in the air, and it's a ground ball double inside the left field line, and he will get into second base. The ball boy is scrambling to get out of the way of that sharply hit ball by Dozier. That's his 23rd double of the year. The Twins come out swinging the bats here in the first inning.
Well, we gave you a lot of the numbers on Brad Peacock, and they haven't been pretty, and there's one of the reasons when he does find the strike zone. A lot of times it's right through the heart of the plate. This ball gets lasered down the line, and before you know it, the Twins have runners at second and third and nobody out.
Joe Mauer is the batter. Mauer steps up with runners at second and third, nobody out. The infield laying back. Except for Dominguez at third. He could make a play at the plate. And first pitch curve. Strike 1 to Mauer. 12-game hitting streak for Mauer. 271 for the season. 2 homers. 28 runs batted in. After missing 34 games, he is back following a minor league rehab stint. Mauer, a first-round pick. The first player drafted overall in the 01 draft from St. Paul, Minnesota. Takes one in the dirt. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. He began the season hitting .323 lifetime, currently at .320. That's tied for the best lifetime batting average in the majors among active players. And it's .329 for him with runners in scoring position. 3rd highest among active players behind Miguel Cabrera and Joey Votto.
Here's the hard to believe stat of the night. Lifetime against Houston in 42 at bats, a 167 mark.
Mauer looks at a pitch upstairs. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Twins went 14-20 while he was on the disabled list. Last year he missed the final 39 games with concussion-like symptoms and then made the switch to first base after starting 73 games behind the dish last year. Twins got him out of harm's way this season. That strained oblique is an injury several of the Astros have had this year, and that's what felled Mauer. That's a 3-1 count now, and Castro goes to the mound. It's been a long-term injury for a lot of players in the big leagues the last few years.
Yeah, it's some of that same thing for Brad Peacock. He's tried 2 or 3 changeups here to see if he can find a way with that pitch, but can't get it in the strike zone. And well, the lightning is just having its way out through the glass in left field.
Quite a storm out there. A lot of rumbling in the distance. And the 3-1 pitch is fouled back by Mauer. Kenny Vargas on deck. The Twins just lost 3 of 4 in Oakland to the A's. On the road, they've won 27 and lost 34. They're 6-14 in road series openers. Ron Gardenhire has been at the helm for years, and this club had a rough season last year, but like the Astros, playing at a much better pace so far this year. That's ball 4, and the bases are loaded now with Maurer drawing a walk.
Now see if you can get yourself a ground ball, get a double play, maybe one back to the mound, and create that 1-2-3 double play. It's going to take one of those kinds of turnarounds for Brad Peacock.
Peacock lasted 1/3 of an inning here against Boston July 13th, giving up 2 hits and 1 run. He was pulled from the game with the bases loaded. And now first inning problems facing the switch hitting DH Vargas. Vargas, 24 years old, from Puerto Rico, signed as a free agent by the Twins in 2009. He drives one toward the right field corner. It's hooking, and that's a foul ball, but it had grand slam on it when it left the bat.
Brad Peacock's got to be wondering what do you turn to? He tries to go with a first pitch curveball, leaves it right through that heart of the plate and up a bit, and it gets juiced to right field. But it's not like Peacock's out there just throwing fastball after fastball. He's trying everything. Where is the slider that was so effective late last year for Brad?
Excellent question. Fastball is there for a strike, and it's 0-2 on Vargas. He was an Eastern League midseason All-Star this year, coming up from AA New Britain, where he was a .291 hitter with 13 doubles, 15 homers, 58 runs batted in 83 games. Twins think that he can be a real hitting star in the majors. In the dirt, there's a good stop by Castro, but Vargas calmly took it for ball 1. Vargas has reached base in 8 of his last 9.
Jason Castro has been doing a dynamite job with this in recent games.
Vargas has hit .304 as a left-handed batter with 1 homer in 23 at-bats from this side of the plate. Well, that thunder continues to be present in the distance. That's flicked foul. Peacock has 1 career appearance against the Twins. He struck out 10 last year, but lost that start against Minnesota. In 7 innings, he allowed 4 hits and 3 runs. And he gets him to go. Struck him out for out number 1.
Find a way to get it turned around, whatever it takes. You get that big first out, and now any double play gets you out of the frame.
Trevor Plouffe comes up. Plouffe at .249 has 8 homers. He's driven in 54 runs. He's been on the DL with a strained left oblique himself this year. 28 years old. First round pick in 2004 by the Twins. Plouffe lets it go, and it's ball 1 with Bob Davidson, the home plate umpire. Well, that's quite a storm out there in the distance. Plouffe chases that one, and it's 1-1.
Good looking riding heater on a 1-0 where you figure the hitter's going to be looking fastball. Tough to slip it by.
Julia had an interview with the pitching coach Brent Strom, and he referred to that in the interview. Plouffe 1 for 11 with the bases loaded. Down and away, and it's a 2-ball 1-strike count.
There's that yanked fastball that we see so often with Brad. It's hard to figure out why that release point is so inconsistent. Trying to just find the strike zone, but yanks it down and away.
Kurt Suzuki's on deck. There's the rider, and it's 2-2. Brent Strom explained that with the curveball of Brad Peacock, the four-seam fastball would be a good fit.
Well, he's getting some four-seamers by the hitters right now, including that strikeout of Vargas. I'd love to see that slider get mixed back in.
Fly ball toward the right field line. Coming over for it. Grossman into foul territory. Up against the stands. He can't reach it. It appeared it would have been an easy sac fly. Santana, the runner at third, is fast. So had Robbie been able to reach over and make that catch, it looked as if it would have been 1-0 Twins. He almost got there.
Yeah, if you're hoping to get out of the inning with no runs for the Twins, that's not a play you want to make. Although you always want to get any out you're presented.
Yeah. Especially in a bases loaded 1-out situation. There's a foul ball, and the Twins have been scoring some pretty good runs lately. They've hit 292 as a team the last 10 days. That's tops in the American League. They're in the middle of the pack in average runs scored per game. Willingham just traded before this game to Kansas City for a young pitcher. Josh was not having a great year, and at age 35 was not a big part of their plans for the future. So the Twins parted company with him before this game tonight. He was on the field getting ready to take batting practice. This one goes also toward the stands outside the right field line, and that's out of play. So here's the trade. Kansas City parted with a young pitcher, Jason Adam, and picked up Willingham.
Jason Adam was playing AAA with the Royals. Now he will be a AA pitcher for Minnesota.
The Royals are really going for it, and they are right on the heels of the Detroit Tigers in the AL Central. 2-2 pitch is foul back. And for Peacock, the pitch count has run to 23 so far in the first inning.
He's going after that strike zone right here, though.
Last time out at Philadelphia, he was tagged for 8 earned runs in 5 innings. This will be his 9th pitch coming to Trevor Plouffe. Ground ball in the hole. There's a sliding play. Petit gets it to Altuve. Altuve, Singleton safe at first. 1-run home. And now scrambling back to third is Dozier. Santana scored to make it 1-0 Twins. Dozier was looking like maybe a dash toward the plate might be in order, but Singleton scrambled for that ball.
Terrific effort by the Astros in the infield to take every shot they had at a double play. Look at Petit go after it in a nice quick turn by Altuve, but that glove of Singleton, a lot of times this ball actually appeared to hit the glove without dirt and still gets away.
Plouffe winds up with RBI number 55. That makes it 1-0 Minnesota. And Kurt Suzuki bats. Suzuki has been terrific in these 2-out runners in scoring position situations, hitting .349. He's taken the first pitch in 31 straight plate appearances. Make it 32, and it's strike one. Minnesota Twins signed him to a 2-year contract extension. Somebody's getting some rain out there somewhere.
And they're not far from here.
Suzuki looks at it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Suzuki with a .305 batting average has a .366 on base average, and there you see his excellent batting average with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
That last pitch may have been the AWOL slider.
Looked like it.
Looked like he got under it and just pushed it upwards.
And he comes back with it. Fly ball left center field. That is dropping quickly. There's on the run. Jake Marisnick to Rob Suzuki. Big time catch in that situation for out number 3. The Twins settle for 1 run. 2 hits. They leave 2 thanks to Marisnick's catch. 1-0 Minnesota. Tommy Milone obtained in a trade from the Oakland A's, so he has some run support already as he goes out to face this Astros lineup presented by Jack in the Box. Bo Porter hoping it's raining runs for him very soon with this starting lineup of Robbie Grossman in right field, Jose Altuve second base, Chris Carter DH, Matt Dominguez third base, Jason Castro catcher, Domingo Santana left field, John Singleton first base, Jake Marisnick center field, Gregorio Petit shortstop.
On the mound, left-hander Tommaso Anthony Milone on the hill for these Minnesota Twins. As Brownie mentioned, came over from the Oakland A's, and he was pitching successfully there. 6-3 on the year, 3.55 the ERA. Opponent's batting average against it 245, so he's done a pretty good job. The 12 home runs allowed. Now his first start against the Astros.
Robbie Grossman takes a look at his first pitch, and it's ball 1 to Robbie. Robbie was on base in 9 of his 13 plate appearances against the Rangers in those 3 games. 203 batting average, 336 on base average. He's been drawing lots of walks, has 39 for the season, and he's ahead 2-0 in the count. Milone 1-1 lifetime against Houston. Missing there, and it's 3-0. Milone was pitching well, as you saw those numbers in the 16 starts for the Oakland A's, but they made the trade with the Cubs and sent him down to the minor leagues. 3 balls and a strike, and they used that pitching depth to trade him to the Twins for outfielder Sam Fuld. As he returns to the majors, he's on a 6-game winning streak. Lined up the right field line and flared into the seats. 3-2 now for Robbie Grossman, who really has been working the count. He had an 11 pitch at bat the other day, leading off the Astros first inning, and drew a walk. He went 2 for 7 in Minnesota back in June. He's been a nice catalyst for Bo Porter at the top of the lineup. Fouls that one back, and this is what he does. He will make that pitcher work to get him out.
Really is what he does, and I'm not sure exactly how it is that Robbie gets so many balls thrown to him, but he's got away.
He was 4 for 8 in that Rangers series with a big home run to help win one of those games. That is strike 3, though, and it's out number 1. He looks back. He's pretty unhappy with that call.
Defensively for these Minnesota Twins, in the outfield left to right, Jordan Schaefer claimed off of waivers August 3rd. Danny Santana can go get it in center. Chris Parmelee in right on the infield left side. Trevor Plouffe, Eduardo Escobar at short. He's been really good. Right side, Brian Dozier and Joe Mauer, and behind the plate, Kurt Suzuki.
Jose Altuve returned to the lineup yesterday after missing the Saturday night game with a Slight neck problem. He had a couple of hits, stole a base, was hit by a pitch yesterday. Back on top in the AL batting rates at .335, and he has a .372 on base average. Taking strike one, Altuve has 160 hits. That is also atop the leaderboard in the American League. He shoots one to left field. That might be an Altuve long ball to make it 1-1. Number 5, Jose Altuve.
Well, we mentioned the home runs given up by Tommy Milone this year. That's his 13th on the season in just under 100 innings, and Jose Altuve glad to be the recipient.
35 runs batted in for Altuve.
Hey, he got one to handle that inner third, and he can turn on it. A lot of people think Altuve is just that guy that pings it the other way. He's not. Got a lot of pop a lot of the time. It's doubles down the left field side, but he can get the head out.
That's his first career homer against Minnesota. Chris Carter, the batter. Ball one to Carter. Carter at .226. Has 25 homers. That ranks 6th in the American League. He's driven in 60. He's now 10th in slugging percentage in the American League. Looks at that one for ball 2. So Altuve has tied it. Now Carter, since July 1st, leads the majors in homers, slugging, and OPS, hoping to follow up on what Jose did. It's 3 balls, no strikes to him from the 27-year-old southpaw. Milone was drafted by Washington in the 10th round in 08. Oakland got him in the Gio Gonzalez trade. He went to Southern Cal. 3 balls, 1 strike to Carter. Tommy Milone last year was 12-9 for Oakland. The year before, 13-10. Chris Carter up there among the leaders in home runs per at bat. And he takes a 1-out walk. 34th base on balls for Chris. Matt Dominguez, who's batting 4th tonight, will follow.
Well, you can see how timid Milone was in coming after Carter there, even when he fell behind with 3 balls, trying to work under the knees and off the outside edge.
Dominguez brings a 7-game hitting streak into this one tonight. .233, 13 bombs. He's driven in 48. 0 for his last 14 against lefties. Takes strike 1 from Milone. Milone, like his mound opponent Peacock, has had a high ERA in the first inning of his games. 6.19. Peacock's first inning ERA was 7.04 when this game got underway. Ground ball in the hole. Diving, a third baseman can't get it. Here's the throw from the hole at shortstop. Escobar gets the force play for out number 2. Very well done by Escobar. Over to Dozier. Dominguez reaching on out number 2.
Escobar showing himself throughout the season. When he has played at shortstop, he'll play it with the best of them. And this is a tough opportunity, but he knows right away what he's going to do. And he accurately gets that throw into second. Very sure-handed.
Now in this 1-1 game, it's Jason Castro. Castro, with a .234 average, has 11 homers, 44 driven in. He went 3 for 13 with an RBI against the Rangers over the weekend. Milone delivers, and it's ball 1. Left-handed hitters are actually hitting 24 points higher against Milone than right-handed hitters.
Escobar has in fact played at shortstop in 70 games, 61 as a starter, and made just 2 errors. That's exceptional.
That is outstanding. 1 ball, 1 strike. Domingo Santana on deck. It is dark out there and raining. Malone has had the 5th best run support average in the American League. Pop behind the plate. Suzuki off of the mask. And he one-hands it to end the Astros first. With Altuve's home run tying it, it's number 5 of the year for Jose. It's 1-1 after all.
Hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That is brought to you by AT&T. Catching up with Brad Peacock just one day ago, he felt really confident coming into today despite a rough start in that last start in Philadelphia. Him and Brent Strom, the pitching coach, been working on a few things since he was back or been back in the rotation. That's elevating the fastball. I know Brownie started to mention this earlier. This way, it can hide his curveball a little bit better. Now, the thing with Peacock is, though, he has to throw all of his pitches for strikes, and that's something he's been struggling with.
Thanks, Julia. There's a strike, and it's strike 1 to Chris Parmelee, leading it off at inning number 2. It's a fresh start for Brad now that the Astros have scored to tie it. Brent Strom watching as he prepares the 0-1 pitch. 1-1. You talk to just about any pitching coach and find out very quickly how invested they are. The guys who throw the baseball. Upstairs, and it's a 2-ball 1-strike count.
All right, come on, Pete. Come on now.
Brad had just an outstanding stretch of work earlier this season. In a period of 13 starts, his first 13, he had a 3.89 ERA. That was through July 8th. He had some crispness on that fastball, and it's 2-2.
That's the thing about Brad. His stuff is fine to succeed with. Fastball up to about 94 miles an hour. He runs it up there good. Slider has been almost non-existent recently. He's got a changeup that'll do and a pretty nice over-the-top curveball. It all adds up to what should be nice major league stuff.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He's had 48% shutdown innings. Explanation coming after this next pitch. Time called. Shutdown inning would be after his team scores. He limits the other team to no runs in the next inning. That's the lowest figure in the American League. Bangs that one off the railing, and it caroms out towards Singleton at first base. It's still 2-2 to Parmelee. Marwin Gonzalez there. Parmelee's 26 years old. First round pick in 06 from Long Beach, California. Late on that one, and he's strikeout victim number 2.
Well, that Brent Strom fastball up has created a couple of strikeouts tonight. Elevating with success.
Eduardo Escobar bats next. Escobar, the 25-year-old shortstop, looks at ball one. 274 his average. 3 homers, 22 runs batted in for Escobar, and he's third on the Twins in extra base hits. He had a 3-hit game at Minnesota against the Astros back in June. Rips this one, and that's up the right field line. It kicks out toward Grossman. Escobar's headed for second. Here's Grossman with a shot. The throw on the fly. Petit can't get him in time, and it's a double for Escobar. 30th double for Escobar.
Robbie Grossman gave it a good shot and aired it out pretty well into the bag. Another one of the sharply hit balls, and a couple inside the bags both sides. Robbie has a little bit of a long delivery of the baseball, but a good throw here.
He made it close. 30 doubles for Escobar, a nice number. Jordan Schaefer, the former Astro, was acquired off waivers by the Twins from the Braves 8 days ago. He was in right field in the original starting lineup. Then after the Willingham trade, he was shifted over to left field. Schaefer takes a look at it, and it's ball one. Schaefer has played 5 games since joining the Twins, going 5 for 16. He was hitting only 163 for Atlanta in 63 games, had just 80 at bats. So overall 188. His career average is in the 220s. Schaefer takes it. It's a strike. Schaefer very speedy. Good outfielder. 1 ball, 1 strike. He just simply has not been able to hit enough to stay in a major league lineup. He was a 3rd round pick in 05 by the Braves from Hammond, Indiana. Out to center field and shallow for Marisnik. He tracks it down for out number
2. And Marisnik does play shallow. Can create challenges on deep drives, but one thing we've seen from Marisnik is he goes back on the baseball extremely well.
He really does, and the fact that he does play shallow, as we just saw, allows him to take away some hits in front of him. Danny Santana opened the game with a hit to right field, came around to score as Trevor Plouffe bounced into a force. Good looking young player. That's roll foul. Strike to Santana. Twins are 2nd in the American League in drawing walks.
Well, that might have been that little slider breaking down and in.
Off the ankle.
I'll tell you what, if you come back in, down and in, you leave a hitter at this point very reluctant to offer.
He doesn't want another one of those. Those bone bruises stick around for a while. Yeah, that short-term memory can really work against a hitter if he sees that same pitch again breaking down and in.
You do it enough times, that short-term memory turns into long-term memory.
Some of our brethren next door in the press box report being scared by the storm tonight. Swing and a miss, and it gets by, but not very far. Castro able to get to it quickly. 0-2.
Came right back, slider down and in, even more so.
Ryan McTaggart tweets that he is scared. It's a good stop there by Castro.
You can't scare a cowboy like that.
Jesus Ortiz says I might need a hug if this lightning doesn't stop. Scary stuff. Getting dark again now. Grossman goes back in right field. Just short of the warning track. To end the Twins' second with no runs, 1 hit, 1 man stranded. It's 1-1.
Great guests, hot topics, and no holds barred debate. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up fresh every single weeknight at Sports Talk Live at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. Check out tomorrow's guests, Nick Wright, Jerome Solomon, and Rick Haro. Also James Palmer. Check it out.
Thanks, Julia. On this dark night with a storm outside, it's 1-1. Ooh, look at that blob. As Domingo Santana tries for his first major league hit. There's strike 1 to Santana. He is 0 for 13 as a major leaguer with 11 punch-outs. And it's his first start since he was recalled from Oklahoma City. He's been around for a few days because the Astros haven't faced any lefties until now. Came up on Sunday and went to Philadelphia. He drew a pinch walk. His only at bat, only plate appearance there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Domingo Santana. Daniel Santana playing center field. Domingo is 22 years old, from the Bahamas. He went and struck out. Number 2 for Malone.
Well, you hope that doesn't start a string of that same thing for Domingo Santana, because his first 13 at-bats were filled with them. 11 times he had struck out.
And now Malone moves along and faces another lefty. John Singleton dropped down to number 7 in the lineup because facing a lefty. 191, 10 homers, 35 runs batted in, but he's hung in quite well against lefties. In fact, much better than against right-handers statistically. And there's ball 1 to Singleton. Singleton was 3 for 11 in the Rangers series, driving in 3. Hit that grand slam in Minnesota. And it's a 2-ball, no strike count. So against lefties, he's hit .278, 15 for 54 with 4 homers, 15 runs batted in. Fouls that one back, and it's 2-1. That's the way it looks as far as his hit chart against lefties.
Hard to explain, but for whatever reason, John Singleton seems to focus better, maybe bear down more. It's hard to say of someone because you know they're bearing down all the time, but the results have been very good against the lefties.
Do you think it could be as they scatter on the other side of the railing because lefties tend to work him away more?
Well, I don't know. A lot of sweeping sliders going in that direction. But he does seem to stay on the pitch well. I don't know if there's a tendency to cut down on the swing a bit against the lefties.
Check swing roller. He might make it. Here's the bare hand. Nope. Trevor Plouffe couldn't come up with it. That's an infield hit against the shift. Excuse me, but he's aboard.
Statistically, he's really effective with check swings against lefties. I believe this makes him 1 for 1.
Okay. Put that one in the stat column. That worked out. He's aboard for Jake Marisnick. Marisnick at 235 has no homers, 2 runs batted in. He's picked up the pace the last 7 games, 8 for 27. Had a 5 for 11 series against the Rangers. He's on a 3-game hitting streak. And he pushes a bunt. Malone barehand spins, throws, he gets away. And now Singleton heads for third. Dozier picks up the ball, stops sign at third. Marisnick into second base on the misplay by the Twins. Well, Marisnick with the push bunt makes something happen.
Yeah, Jake Marisnick continues to get hits on, not line drives finding the outfield, but his speed is going to be a part of that for a long time.
It's a bunt single for Marisnick and an error on Malone. And they got tangled up with Maurer trying to catch that throw, and Marisnick had already arrived when the ball got there. Singleton makes it to third. Second and third, 1 out now for Gregorio Petit. Petit has hit in 7 of his 9 games with Houston and in 6 of his 7 starts. 286, 1 homer. He's driven in 3. Infield stays back except at third base. And there's strike 1 to the number 9 hitter, Gregorio Petit. He'd been languishing in the minor leagues ever since '09 with Oakland when he got this chance, and he's making the most of it. Had a knee injury, and surgery in one of those years prevented him from playing. He's not biting on that one from Malone, and the count runs to 1-1. Petit has been getting this playing time occasionally at shortstop, with Marwin Gonzalez taking a rest. And now again lays off the outside offering for a 2-ball 1-strike count.
Malone is one of those soft tossers who has to be really good on the edges, and for the moment he's not there.
It's 2-2 as he gets Petit to swing the bat. Alex Presley's headed out on a minor league rehab assignment after this game tonight. It's been tough on these injured guys. These injuries have persisted much longer than they would have been comfortable with, but can't rush Mother Nature. 3-2. Jesus Guzman is on the disabled list with a back problem. Presley, Springer, and Fowler. Dexter Fowler is playing again in the minor leagues tonight at AAA Oklahoma City. He could be back as soon as tomorrow night. Petit works a walk. He stayed with his game plan there, and now the bases are loaded with 1 out. 2 walks for Malone. Garden hires lefty. His first start as a Twin. Will face Robbie Grossman. This battery of Malone and Suzuki worked very well in Oakland. Grossman's 2 for 4 with the bases loaded. He's driven in 4. He struck out looking on a 3-2 count in the first. When Suzuki is catching for Malone, Malone's ERA is 2.99. And it's ball 1 outside.
Malone just continues to miss the changeup right there. Fastballs that he tries to find the edge with. Close, but not on the money.
Well, he lost to the Astros here 5-1 against Colin McHugh back on April 27th. Rolled out to second. Dozier gets to it. Backhanded flip. Up and over. And the dig by Mauer on the throw from Escobar takes care of a 4-6-3 double play. It's no runs, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 left. And after 2, it's 1-1.
Chris Carter and Astros legend Jimmy Wynn will be signing autographs at the Whataburger at 22710 Bel Air Boulevard in Richmond on August 12th from 11 to noon. Sign up to be the Whataburger What a Fan for a chance to win great prizes, including lunch with team president Reed Ryan. Visit Astros.com for more information, guys.
The toy cannon and the big howitzer, both in one place. Tomorrow from 11 to 12.
The big howitzer. Good.
Like that one?
I do.
1-1 game. We go to the 3rd inning. And it's Brian Dozier. Dozier doubled a hot line drive just inside the 3rd base line back in the 1st inning. 1-3-0 for both clubs and 3 men left for both clubs. There is strike 1. Manny Machado hurt his right knee against the Yankees, and he was helped off the field in the 3rd inning tonight. He twisted that knee while hitting a broken back grounder. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Orioles have really been playing with a purpose. Wonder if that might sidetrack them a little bit. Fly ball hits for right field. Robbie Grossman heads for it. 1 out for Peacock.
Well, I would certainly think the Orioles cannot be as good without Manny Machado as with him. But well, they've opened it up pretty well in the East.
They are looking strong right now at 67-50.
Looks like 3 teams have a shot.
Bud Norris, I believe, is pitching tonight. He's having a good season. Joe Mauer walked earlier. That's strike 1 to Mauer. Vargas is on deck.
Looks like Brad Peacock's starting to settle in a bit.
Giancarlo Stanton has gone off tonight with 2 homers. He's going to make some money in this game.
It's a guy that's kind of fun to watch.
2-1. If you were the Marlins, you wouldn't trade him, would you?
I wouldn't even consider trading that guy. But then again, when you consider what it's going to cost to pay him, then I guess you start trying to weigh things.
2 balls, 2 strikes. But what a drawing card he will be.
Already is. Although that has not been a hotbed of baseball in South Florida.
Gotta like their outfield, though, Ash.
Yeah, you do.
Center fielder Ozuna looked really good when they were here. Fly ball out to left center field. Lisnick watches it go off that wall. Kicks back over Santana. That's an opposite field double by Mauer, and a 13-game hitting streak for Mauer. It's his 18th double of the year.
Yeah, this is the way he's always gone about hitting. He's been more of that opposite field type hitter, and that's one of the big reasons he doesn't have a slew of home runs over his career. Although that bat would sure fit in nicely in this yard, you would think.
3-time batting champion, AL MVP. He averaged 128 this season, but since 2011, you can see missed half of that year, only 76 games this year. Vargas bats now. He struck out earlier. There's that slider. He's working it back in, Ash.
It's a great pitch when you can throw one of your breaking balls for the called strike to start a hitter, because again, most of the time that hitter's up there looking for a fastball he can juice.
That's a roller. The shift is on. A long way to come here, and here's a try at first base, but no real chance by Petit, and he threw it in the dirt, so Singleton wisely came off the base, blocked it to prevent a run from scoring. Mauer to third on the infield hit by Vargas.
Vargas just kind of got beat up with this fastball. Gets in on him a bit, and he inside outs it, puts it on the ground. Nothing you can do from that alignment.
That's 5 hits now for the Twins. First and third, 1 out. Trevor Plouffe got the RBI, bouncing into a force in the first inning. Altuve's near second base right now. Plouffe looks at it, and it's ball 1 from Peacock.
Stand on P. Come on, P. Come on now.
Plouffe, an important guy in the scheme of things for the Twins. Last year he drove in 52. He spent some time with injuries last year off the field from West Hills, California. Off the plate with a heater, that makes it 2-0. The Twins, like the Astros, have some stars in their farm system. Byron Buxton is at the top of the list, along with Miguel Sano, a third baseman. Both have had injuries this year. The Astros are 2-1 against the Twins. They are 11-11 against teams in the American League Central this year. Holding their own against that division. Two and two. Brad Ausmus may have some problems on his hands. That Detroit club really faltering.
And that perception that they're so loaded says, okay, well, they've got to win. If they're not winning, what's going on? Who's making mistakes? But injuries are starting to mount.
They are. Ooh, that one took off, and it's 3-2. Suzuki's on deck. Twins have the lead in the all-time series with Houston 17-12. Twins have been an organization emphasizing homegrown players down through the years for the most part. In the air and foul. Singleton. 2 outs.
Create memories, have fun, and enjoy a premium experience with an Astros luxury suite right here at Minute Maid Park. We'll create an experience your group is sure to remember. Call the Astros premium ticket line at 1-877-9-ASTROS to reserve your luxury suite today. Might even run into Craig Biggio.
Is he up there?
It would appear.
Oh, that version of Craig. Kurt Suzuki hit a fly ball, and it was caught by Marisnick in shallow left center field. Kurt's 30 years old. He was born in Hawaii. Second round pick of Oakland in 2004. And an all-star this year. Good stop there to save a run by Castro. Slider started a lot lower that time, and that gave Jason a problem, but he did his job very well.
Inconsistent release point for Brad Peacock would be, I think, one of the things that you would first think, how do we solve the problems that he's had? Well, number one, you've got to make that release point a lot more consistent.
That's on the outside corner, and it's 1-1. Suzuki divided last year between Washington and Oakland. Then he was a free agent. The Twins signed him to a 1-year deal in December. Now they've recently extended him 2 more years. Good receiver. He went to Cal State Fullerton. Chase that one. 1-2, and they've got an out at first base. The runner gets caught off. Here's the throw, and he got back. For some reason, Vargas was hung up several steps between first and second. The Astros, Castro looking at him, did not throw the ball there in time to get him.
That is hard to figure. What goes on here? There's the swing and miss, and I don't know what the runner's doing, but then even more so, what is Castro doing?
Could have been the third out. Two and two.
Yeah, I cannot figure out what Vargas is doing right here. He acted like it was ball 4, but then Castro acted like he was very concerned that the runner Mauer from third was coming.
So Suzuki gets a chance to swing the bat at a 2-2 pitch coming next. Kurt drove in 88 runs back in 2009 with Oakland. In the air, foul, but is it in play? That's the question as Singleton watches it drift back. It is not.
Very wise young lady fan down there did not call for that one and wisely got out of the way.
Yeah. Which one was wise?
Well, I don't know. You let the outfielder fans come in and make sure and call that one. There was a lot of wisdom being passed around there, I think.
.63 pitches for Peacock through 2 2/3. And that one's off the plate. Now a full count to Suzuki.
Well, that was an odd play.
Very odd. Haven't seen that all year, have we?
Not like that. Not where you've got an out presented. For what reason, I couldn't begin to tell you from Vargas's perspective, and then not taking a shot at it.
Marisnick is stationed in right center field. 3-2 runner going, and it's hit toward left center field, hanging there. Coming over, Santana for the catch. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. It is 1-1.
Anonymous American League personnel scout, and it's on Jose Altuve. Scout says he's an absolute machine. When you watch him take batting practice, it's a professional BP with a purpose beyond the approach and makeup stuff, which can only go so far. His hitting hands are almost supernatural. The number of pitches counted by both pitch type and location that he can turn into line drives the other way is mind-boggling. And I'll amend that and say in any direction. But what Altuve does is use batting practice to prepare to hit balls to right field and back to center and occasionally pull a ball. It's not about launching home runs. He does the right things to set himself up for success during the night.
Excellent story by Jerry Krasnick at ESPN.com on Jose Altuve, who tied the game with a first inning homer. There's strike one to Jose. Jose among those Venezuelans, well, the guys who have won batting championships. He might be added to that list. Andres Galarraga, Maglio Ordonez, Carlos Gonzalez, and of course 3 for Miguel Cabrera the last 3 years. But he could join that elite group if he wins the title and also become the first Astro ever to win a batting title. .422 against lefties. That's the highest average in the American League against southpaws. And it just went up. Line drive single to center field. Altuve's 2 for 2.
Now, did that look at all like the batting practice? Right back up the middle. Of course, what we saw in BP was a lot of work going the other way, but he'll set it up by working to all fields, but primarily back up the middle and to right. And just right up the middle, that back foot shoots out. Does not try to pull the baseball.
That's that drop step he sometimes employs to make sure he doesn't try to pull the baseball. Chris Carter's the batter. Carter walked in the first inning. Altuve starts and stops. Fly ball high to center field. Santana underneath it. Altuve's tagging. Here's the tag. Here's the throw from Santana. And it's close. He got in there. The throw was a little bit offline, and Altuve slipped in under the tag attempt of Escobar.
Well, that took every bit of hustle that Altuve had, because that throw had some serious hair on it coming from center field. Watch this thing. Altuve looks at it. He says, well, I think I've got a shot here. Now watch the throw. I mean, that thing is on a line coming in. And there was not one step that didn't have complete purpose there from Altuve.
That could be big. Matt Dominguez now has a man in scoring position, taking strike one. Mingo bounced into a force play in the first inning. Smart base running by Altuve, but Santana anticipated it. He was back behind the ball and made a strong throw.
Well, that's a good throwing arm in center.
It's 1-1.
Find those good throwing arms generally in right field. Not that often in center field, and so that really stood out. Of course, Jake Marisnick we've seen throws well from center.
Malone goes to 2-1. Malone had a low ERA at the O.Co Coliseum in Oakland. On the road, his ERA is 4.40.
I think that's got to be anybody's concern about going after a Tommy Malone or any of the guys that come from Oakland that have a real nice season going. I think even what they do at home carries over a bit on the road.
Out into right center field. Altuve will wait because it's caught by Santana. That ball carried a little bit better than it looked like it might off the bat for out number 2. And a good decision by Altuve. Up here, it looked like base hit, but he did not take off. He waited.
You know, we talk about players with instincts. I'd put Altuve on that list without even thinking any further about it. He reads plays beautifully. He just understands the game. And I think he's one of those guys as a base runner at second, for example, that knows where the outfielders are deployed, and when he sees the ball come off the bat, he's got a great idea as to whether it's a hit or not.
Fine read there. Now he's at second with 2 outs for Castro. Castro fouled out to the catcher in the first. That's ball 1.
There's Altuve on that ball hit. See how he picks up the baseball right away, sees the outfielder. But before the whole thing starts, I would say that the really good base runners have that idea. They know where the outfielders are set up, and they know what the chances are immediately.
Castro moves back from an inside offering. That's ball 2. Malone with that 6-game winning streak. That's the second longest winning streak in the American League. Involved in a 1-1 matchup right now. His last start was against Rochester August 5th. 7 innings, 1 run. That's a strike. Kevin Correa was in the Twins rotation. He was traded to the Dodgers, and that gave Malone the chance to move into the Minnesota starting rotation tonight. Rick Anderson's a pitching coach. Trade was made for Sam Full July 31st, bringing Malone to the Twins. Foul ball. 2-2. Johan Pino starts tomorrow night for Minnesota. The Astros go with Colin McHugh. We have a day game Wednesday. That's a 1:10 start for Kyle Gibson and Brett Oberholzer. That's the end of the homestand. Then the Astros go on a 10-game, 11-day road trip to Boston, New York, and Cleveland. Tap foul, still 2-2. 50 pitches for Malone so far. Dodgers lead in Atlanta 3-1. They're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Kershaw came up with another beauty yesterday.
Seems to be simply the best going right now.
He is amazing. Made a great diving catch on a bunt that was popped up. He got a hit as well in that game. Roll up the middle. Dozier throws out Castro. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man stranded. After 3, it's 1-1.
Of one of the best bargains in Minute Maid Park with the Coca-Cola Value Days package, available with specially marked Coke products. This package includes a ticket, hot dog, popcorn, and bottle of Coke for just $16. Visit Astros.com for more information. Guys, have you found a Coke bottle with your name on it? Share a Coke with Brownie? Share a Coke with Ash? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Really?
No idea what you're talking about.
The Coke bottles now have people's names on it. You can find your name on a Coke bottle.
Oh. Well, how do you find your name? You have to spend all day in the store looking through hundreds of Coke bottles?
Well, I'm told there's a website you can go, so if you can't find your name.
Oh, okay. You could just see Ash and I at the store going through all those shelves.
We have been very shielded up here.
No. Missing out.
We're fountain boys. 1 ball and 1 strike. Parmalee struck out in the second. Let's see, Julia brings us up to date on all this.
It's always informational. Does it come preloaded with ice cream? That's what I want to know.
That's the only way you will have any kind of, well, you like root beer, right, with the ice cream?
A little float will work for me. MC set me up nicely tonight.
Well, you're on quite a streak here.
Well, consistency, as they say, is the key.
I think you have the longest streak for floats of anybody in baseball right now.
Yeah.
Still 1-2. What do you think your personal record is?
Well, I don't worry about personal matters. It's about winning, and it's one game at a time for me, Brownie.
Are you just trying to be the best teammate you can be?
It's all about the ring for me, and it really doesn't matter what kind of a teammate I am as long as we win.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes to Chris Parmalee.
And I want to make sure those reporters walk away with every bit of information they needed when they came to talk to me.
Oh, yes. That's where social media night will be, out there on the Budweiser patio, August 27th. Just got word Jeff Luhnow is going to be a part of that evening. It's a 2 ball, 2 strike count. Colin McHugh will join in the fun. Orbit made a lot of news yesterday with his signs about J.P. Arencibia. All in good fun.
J.P. joined in nicely as well.
He did join in. Struck him out looking, and he congratulated Orbit today on Twitter. That is strikeout number 3 for Peacock.
A curveball leaves it up, but just the choice of the pitch right there, enough to get the strikeout, and also fortunate to get a call.
In this 1-1 game, it's Peacock versus Eduardo Escobar right now. Escobar double to right. Ball 1. Could be a turnaround game for Brad Peacock. He gave up a first inning run. 1 out double in the second. Back-to-back 1 out hits in the third. But working well out of trouble. 2-0 for Brad. Orioles 4, Yankees 3. They're in the top of the 6th in Baltimore. Bud Norris started. He's gone after 5 against Chris Capuano. Norris threw 108 pitches in 5 innings, giving up 5 hits, 3 runs. Chris Davis hit his 21st homer. He's heating up.
He's coming, isn't he?
Yep. He is exploding, as Chris Davis can do. Escobar backed up and taking all the way. He looked at strike 1. Risnick is over in left center field. Fouled away, and it's 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Chris Davis hitting under 200 at the start of play today, but hitting the home runs, driving in runs. I guess the Orioles, with that thumping lineup, are willing to take what they can get.
And just looking at the box score, he's playing third base. Manny Machado had to leave the game.
I doubt that leaves the O's as defensively sound as otherwise, or even close.
Well, you're right, but they get his bat in the lineup.
I think we're going to see Chris Davis moving to his right, crossing into the coach's box and making a jump throw to first base to just get a guy. I don't see that coming.
Can't see that happening. lashed past the diving Singleton up the right field line. That kicks out to Robbie Grossman. He's got a shot at second. Here's the throw, and is on one bounce and gets away. Petit tried to snag it, but it was off his glove, and Escobar hustles a double again on a similar play to the one in the second inning, forcing Grossman to come up with a great throw, and he's 2 for 2 with 2 doubles, 31 doubles.
Well, there was no doubt in the mind of Escobar, nor was there any for Robbie Grossman. He came over and took his very best shot. That's just stinging the baseball. Robbie has made a couple of good throws. This one just a little too much of a short hop there at second.
Both times Escobar has forced the play. Very aggressive base running. 6 hits for the Twins. Here's Schaefer. He hit a fly ball to center earlier. Taking strike one. Last 3 starts, Peacock is 0-3 with an ERA of 16.00. But it's all about competing, and after that first inning tonight, things have settled down a bit for him as long as he's made those pitches with men in scoring position. Fouled away, 0-2. The Twins are hitting .248 as a team. That's not great, but they don't really rely on the long ball for runs. They like to mount an attack. Walks are a big part of what they do. They're second in the league in drawing walks. They have scored only 26% of their runs on homers. That's the lowest percentage on homers in the American League. They've hit 88 homers. The Astros have hit 129.
Of course, that's likely to be the scenario for the Twins for years to come. That ballpark in Minnesota favors the pitchers a bit.
Yes, it does. Big yard. Except when home run derby moves in.
Yeah, that'll take care of things.
Let's see. Cincinnati will host the All-Star game next year.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Guys are lining up for the home run derby right now.
There will be some people parked out on the Ohio River waiting.
They need to change the rules. The number of pitches thrown for a swing in the home run derby is gotten ridiculous.
Yeah.
There I go, trying to solve another aspect of the game.
By the way, the vote on commissioner will be this week. Have you thrown your hat in the ring?
Well, I thought the mere implication there said that I had, but I thought maybe you would do it for me.
Well, you know, John Henry, the owner of the Red Sox, is endorsing Tom Werner, so I think I should endorse you.
There you go. Tom Henry was a mighty man. I don't know. Tom Henry, it sounds like a mythical character, doesn't it?
Well, that would be, yes. Like Paul Bunyan.
Only without the foot problems.
Now the Minnesota Twins, their origin is pretty interesting. The old Washington Senators moved to Minnesota and became the Twins. Didn't they have a couple of gigantic Paul Bunyan type figures on their original logo?
That was the logo. That's right.
Yeah.
Or were they just overweight Senators? I'm not sure.
They were very large Twins. One and two. The Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Fantastic place. You and Plummer and Julia came back raving about Target Field.
That's a good place. I think we'll probably see you there next year.
You will.
What things seem to be angling toward.
That's on the don't miss list for next year.
I heard you today talking about the 10,000 rakes, something like that.
Land of 10,000 rakes. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What was that all about?
Well, you know, Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But our keys, a little play on words. 10,000 rakes because the Astros hit so well there.
Okay.
You remember that.
I'm going to go with this whole thing. It's a theme that I'm catching on to now. I want to see it pick up tonight, though.
Let's hold off till the bottom of the inning.
Yeah, that's right.
That helps us get there. That's strikeout number 4 for Peacock.
Can't rake when you take it. Rough first inning for Brad, but he's gotten much, much better.
Good pitch there. And now he'll go to the top of the order in Santana. We have on the internet, and you're on there all the time, Ash. You probably never called up the images for the twins, Minnie and Paul. Those hulking guys who were on their original logo with the state of Minnesota behind them. Minnie and Paul were those twins. There they are, Ash.
Yeah, I remember that logo. Yeah, they were stalwarts.
Well, when you think of those original twins, you think of the big sluggers, right? Harmon Killebrew, Bob Allison.
I think of Rod Carew. As well on that list.
Tony Oliva. Boy, they had some great hitters back in those days. Jim Cott was one of the pitchers. There's a swing by Santana. And it's on. There they are, Minnie and Paul.
Now Minnie's a guy. I guess.
Minnie's a guy.
So like as in
Paul's a guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So there they were. That's the original Minnesota Twins logo.
They seem to be friendly types.
Probably bringing back memories of the way you were treated in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, it's a great place, actually. In the ballpark, situated right downtown.
Good stop there by Castro. Allison and Killebrew, Bob Allison and Harmon Killebrew, were the first teammates to hit grand slams in the same inning in Major League history. And of course, the Astros have done that with Dennis Menke and Jimmy Wynn. And they did it in '69, but Allison and Killebrew did it in '61.
Dennis Menke, a former hitting coach for a good while with the Astros.
That's right.
Great guy.
Absolutely. 2-2. But the Astros hit 2 grand slams in that one game. You did.
Yep. That would be Chris Carter and John Singleton, each with their first of the year. For Singleton, the first on his career. Might have been the first for Carter's career as well.
Yes. So they were kind of grand slam twins, if you will, that night.
Club now has, what, 3 grand slams on the year? And
yes.
Carter hit a second one.
Rolled out to shortstop. Petit hurries, and he makes a throw to third. Didn't get him. He had no play at first, so it was alert that he thought Escobar might be rounding third and he could get him coming back, but did not. So Santana reaches on the infield roller.
Second little ground ball toward shortstop tonight that nets the Twins an infield knock. This one appeared to be right off the end of the bat, a little squib job.
Boy, it was.
Semi shift on in the infield, and pretty heads up play there from Gregorio Petit. He had no shot at first.
Now Brent Strom is coming out to the mound. Dozier's the batter. Mauer on deck. Dozier doubled in the first, hit a fly ball in the third. That was 1962 for those grand slams by Allison and Killebrew. Off Barry Latman and Gaylord Perry.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of playing with Gaylord when I first came to the big leagues with the Indians, and the most intense, demanding of himself pitcher I ever played with through the years. Of course, Nolan Ryan would be on that very short list. And I don't know, 1 and 1A kind of a scenario, but that's the type of guy Gaylord was.
Petit is playing over in the hole on Dozier. Altuve up the middle. Slider ball 1. That slider bailed Peacock out of a couple of jams, but that one veered wide of the plate. Well, the Detroit Tigers are getting pummeled at Pittsburgh tonight. It's 10-4 Buccos, bottom of the 6th inning. Justin Verlander lasted 1 inning. Throw to first. He put something on that throw.
So Verlander struggles again. Anibal Sanchez is on the DL. He is, right? Yeah, I know he came up injured the other night.
Yeah. Verlander in 1 inning allowed 4 earned runs. Jake Buchanan's warming up for Houston. That's in for a strike. 1-1. It's worked out well for Bo Porter, who knew that Jake Buchanan would be down for a few days after his 69 pitch relief outing in the 15 inning game at Philadelphia Wednesday night. And he's now had 5 days since he last worked. So Bo really didn't have his long man until the last couple of days. In the dirt. 2-1.
You know, as you size up the Detroit Tigers, Justin Verlander, the alleged ace of that staff, has an ERA approaching 5 now. 4.76.
Wow.
It's hard to believe.
It is. There's the breakdown inning by inning on pitches thrown for Peacock. And he's up to 95 for the game now in the 4th inning.
Yeah, you're just not going to last long when you struggle getting through innings as Brad typically does.
He's really throwing the ball away now, and Santana, that will get the go-ahead run home. And it's picked up by Grossman. Santana goes all the way to third. It's 2-1 Minnesota on the throwing error by Peacock, his second error.
It looked like the standard where you try to make the perfect throw that leads into a catch and a tag all in one move, and it often slips on by. Big mistake.
Escobar scores the go-ahead run.
Just too perfect for the first baseman to deal with.
The umpire got knocked down, Bill Welke, by John Singleton.
Supposed to be a lead blocker on that play.
Yeah.
It didn't work out as designed.
He took a fall. 2 balls and a strike now after the missed play. That pitch is high. It's 3-1.
Come on, now let's go. Come on.
I don't think there was excess force used there by John. Just part of the game.
We've got a block and foul on number 26. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Dozier. Guys who are chasing errant throws are in a hurry.
Yeah, that always seems to be the case too. Should be anyway.
He was ready to spin on that inside heater and ripped it foul. Dozier's got a quick bat. Welke explaining to Singleton. Okay, next time I'll go that way, you go that way.
You're supposed to be taking on that other blocker, pal. It's the preseason. Don't treat me that way.
High pitch hit in the air to left center field. Marisnik comes over for it. Santana's waiting. Santana with the catch. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 1 left. 2-1 Twins in the 4th.
we are looking for predictions. Who will be the hottest Astros hitter for the remainder of the season, the remaining month and a half or so? You can go with Jose Altuve because he's Jose Altuve, or Chris Carter because of what he's done for the last month and a half or so. George Springer, Dexter Fowler, those are some good options too when they come off the disabled list. Just tweet me at HoChenCSN and please explain yourself because I'm reading the best tweets on TV. All right, now we go to Julia Morales.
Thanks, Howard. Domingo Santana coming up here looking for that first major league hit, and he told us before the game that the first time around he was putting too much pressure on himself to get it. But this time around he's changed his mindset. He's also spent a lot of time just watching as he is making his first start in the second stint in the clubhouse, in the dugout, in the big league clubhouse. It's made him more comfortable. Porter saying that would be huge for him.
Expanding his zone there, he reaches for it and swings and misses. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. He struck out in the second inning. Well, you could see it, Julia. Hit 292 at Oklahoma City. 14 homers, 63 runs batted in. He got called up, flew his dad in from the Bahamas, and didn't come through in that first series. So the tendency is to press. 2 balls and a strike. Malone misses, and it's now 3-1. Malone has been trying to coax those right-handed hitters to expand their zone and go for some outside pitches. Big cut there makes it 3-2 for Domingo Santana. Buchanan's been warming up in the Houston bullpen. Peacock's already hit the century mark for pitches thrown. Santana strikes out. Number 3 for Malone.
Yeah, you can change your psychological approach, but when it's all said and done, you've got to do things right physically when you're playing at this level. And the strikeout is just omnipresent right now for Santana.
The Astros continue to strike out more than any other team. 1,035 this season. John Singleton's the batter. And we'll go upper deck foul for strike 1. Singleton got a ground ball hit on the left side of the infield with the shift on in the second inning. Ooh, showing bunt that time. 1-1. Different wrinkle for John.
What about John? He can run a bit for a big man.
Malone delivers, and it's ball 2. It's 2 balls and a strike. Not a bad idea, though, to show that to the infielders. Marlins lead the Cardinals at 6-3 in the middle of the 8th inning. Now a 3-ball, 1-strike count for Singleton. Shelby Miller started for St. Louis. Tom Kohler for Miami. Giancarlo Stanton has hit a couple in that game to give him 31 for the season. John Jay hit his 3rd. That one almost hit him. It's ball 4 anyway for Singleton. And the second, 3rd walk for Malone tonight. Dexter Fowler's 0 for 1 with a walk tonight, playing center field for Oklahoma City in his rehab assignment. Perhaps his last game on that rehab stint.
Well, this has not been the sharpest night on the mound on either side.
No, it is not. Jake Marisnick bunted for a hit in the second inning, pushing the ball between the mound and first base. This is the 4th rehab game in the minors for Dexter Fowler. Throw to first base. Singleton diving back. Alex Presley begins his rehab assignment tomorrow night with the Tri-City Valley Cats of the New York Penn League. He's been out with a right oblique strain since July 8th. Ron Gardenhire's Twins have the lead 2-1 here in the 4th. shot into left field. Marisnik's aboard. Singleton to second base. First and second, one out for Petit now. Marisnik, 2 more hits tonight.
He's picking them up. He's picked up some cheapies, but that's legal. He's also starting to hit these balls on the barrel of the bat. Great sign.
Seven hits in his last 4 games. Petit walked to load the bases in the second. Gregorio hit that big homer in the Astros 3-1 win here over Toronto August 1st. Game was tied 1-1. He came up in the last of the 8th and smacked one into the seats. Ball 1. He's seen a steady diet of those tantalizing pitches, but they're off the plate. Well, the Rangers beat the Astros yesterday. Houston winning 2 of 3 this weekend from Texas. Tonight it's the Rays 5, the Rangers nothing in Arlington, top of the 6th. One ball, one strike to Gregorio Petit. Drew Smiley's making his start for Tampa Bay. 5 innings of 1-hit shutout ball after being traded from Detroit. And Colby Lewis got knocked around. He's given up 5 runs in 5 innings. Only 2 of them earned, though. He made an error on a throw. Fouled away, and it's 1-2 to Petit. In that trade involving Drew Smiley going from Detroit to Tampa Bay. David Price, of course, went to the Tigers. He had a 5-0 lead yesterday, gave up 4, and then the Tigers lost after that.
Took a baseball off the knee, I believe, and don't know if that impacted him in the ball game.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to need him to really step up. That starting staff, that vaunted bunch, is coming apart.
Petit strikes out. That's number 4. Malone did get him to chase. A guy like Malone, once he gets ahead, and he gets to 2 strikes in the count, it becomes more difficult for these right-handed hitters to lay off that off-speed stuff just off the plate. Robbie Grossman's 0 for 2. Robbie is starting for the 26th time in the last 28 games.
That snow cone thing there seemed to require some focus.
What's that?
I don't know. Not sure at this point.
Strike 1 to Grossman.
I've certainly lost mine.
Altuve on deck. Well, the batting average on balls in play for Robbie, just .259.
See, that's not as easy as it looks.
No.
You got to bear down.
Fly ball goes out to right field. Backs up Parmalee for the catch. It's no runs, 1 hit, 2 men left after 4. 2-1 Twins.
Minor league report brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Rio Ruiz at Lancaster having a fantastic year at this point, hitting .306 with 11 bombs on the year. Look at the ribbies. And in the last 10 games, picking it up to .368. Great OPS. 4th round pick back in 2012. Rio Ruiz, remember the name. Solid looking third baseman.
2-1, the Twins lead it. We go to the 5th inning. Brad Peacock on the mound to face hitters 3, 4, and 5 in the order. Joe Mauer is 3. He walked in the first. He doubled off the left field wall in the 3rd. Marisnick moves a couple steps further to his right over toward the left center field alley for Mauer, who often hits the ball well. He lets it travel deep. He lets that travel all the way to catcher's mitt because it's outside for ball 1. Quad City's right-hander Michael Feliz was named the Midwest League Pitcher of the Week today. He was 2-0 with a 0.69 ERA for 2 starts. Had no walks and he struck out 14. He played for the World Team in the All-Star Futures game. He's 21 years old. 2-0 to Mauer. He looks at it, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Joe. Got off to a slow start this year. Swings and fouls that one. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Mauer. Last year, Joe wound up at .324 for the season. So his current neighborhood, he was at .271 when this game started, is an unaccustomed one for him. The lowest batting average he's ever had for a full season is .287 in 2011. That was a partial season. Shoots one out toward Marisnick, who had him played well, and there it is. 1 out. Because of that good defensive positioning, he was able to reach down and snag that one.
And you pitch into that positioning, and it works out well in the end. But again, it's what Joe Mauer does. That's where he hits the ball, back up the middle and toward left field, and he puts the barrel on the ball so many times.
Kenny Vargas got an infield hit in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. Well, a lot of those around Minnesota are hoping he could be another Big Papi, except this time they hang on to him instead of letting him go to Boston. Strike to Vargas. Vargas last year at Class A Fort Myers hit 19 homers and drove in 93.
So history, do not repeat yourself, huh?
Exactly. 1-1 to Vargas. A man who has climbed very quickly from A ball to the majors. From one year to the next, that is a quick ascent. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Vargas. 107 pitches thrown by Peacock, a season high. Through 92 and 5 innings last time out. It's 2-2. August is a big month for guys who are struggling in the starting rotation and trying to establish themselves as major leaguers. There will be September call-ups, and there will be other options at that time. Fouled away. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So you're saying it can set up the opportunities that may or may not come your way in September.
That's right. Peacock is closing in on 100 innings this season. It's his 17th start. Altuve's in and throwing to first. 2 outs.
And if you don't get that opportunity in September, odds are you're not going to do really well in that month. And when you don't, you're not generally looked at favorably come spring training time next year.
True. Who knows what may happen, but it's conceivable that somebody else might take that spot in the rotation and do well in September and then move ahead in the pecking order or planning for next year, which could always change in spring training. Trevor Plouffe is 0 for 2 with an RBI. That's strike one to him.
There's that slider. Effectively done on the first pitch.
Been on and off tonight. Fouled away, and it's 0-2.
So what do you think of this Oakland at Kansas City matchup tonight?
Just looking at that, Sonny Gray and Yordano Ventura. Wow, would that be fun to watch? It's 2-2 in the 6th inning right now. And first place on the line if Kansas City wins, with Detroit losing big. The Royals move into first by a half game. That one goes foul. 0-2. That's been a quick turnaround in the AL Central. Kansas City's won 7 in a row and 9 out of 10. Just made the trade for Josh Willingham tonight.
Second time that the Royals have had a nice spurt on the season. Of course, they've had their downs as well.
John Singleton chases this foul ball. Back about 10 rows. Still 0-2. Well, the Royals certainly are going for it this year. Their general manager, Dayton Moore, with the moves he made over the winter, bringing in James Shields to add to that rotation, and hoping that the young and improving core of players, Alex Gordon and those guys, will continue to get better. In a pretty good shape right now.
That young core with Raul Ibanez?
Not that young core. Was he 41 now?
Yeah, maybe.
Struck him out. That's number 5 for Peacock. He has a 1-2-3 inning for the first time tonight. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Twins 2, Astros 1.
Jose Altuve, yeah, we can rewind on him. He had a home run his first at bat. He's batting second tonight. He launched one to left field. He's also singled to center field. He's tagged up from first on a deep fly to center field and hustled his way into scoring position. Just doing everything right. That's Jose Altuve night after night.
Started the night with a 5-point lead in the batting race on Robinson Cano of Seattle. Seattle has a later start at home against Toronto. And with 2 hits tonight, he has 162. Before this game, with the 160, he was 10 hits ahead of Craig Biggio's pace in '98 through 118 games. Biggio wound up at 210. So a homer, a single, now the 3rd time up for Altuve. Brings ball 1 to start from Malone. Carter and Dominguez to follow here in the Astros 5th inning. .358 batting average on balls in play. Not abnormally high when you consider his overall batting average right now.
Well, that's because he puts the ball in play so much of the time. I mean, it's It's kind of what Jose does.
Out to left center field, going for it, Santana. Santana with a good running catch. Run out.
Santana looked like he almost overran this baseball.
Yes, he did.
We've seen George Springer do that a couple of times this year, where he had to catch the ball back behind his head. And you get a look at Santana kind of pulling that off on this play. Sometimes that speed is hard to corral.
Santana is a shortstop who was moved to center field this year. Speed serving it very well. Chris Carter has a walk and a fly ball to center. Ball 1 to Chris. Chris has driven in runs in 4 games in a row. He's hitting .351 in August with 11 runs batted in this month. It's 1-1.
One of the things that Chris Carter has been working to try to do is, when he takes a pitch or when he's landing, getting ready to swing, to be in that right position.
That's gone. Chris Carter goes off again. That's 12 runs batted in August for Chris Carter. Home run number 26. That's 61 runs batted in, and this one ties it at 2 in the 5th.
Yeah, he was in pretty good position right here to handle this. Maybe a little reminder never hurts. But that was very nice for Chris. Previous pitch, he got that hit flying a little bit beforehand. And you want to wait and let it all explode at the right time.
13 homers since July 1st. Leads the majors. And this one ties it at 2. Altuve and Carter have homered tonight. Matt Dominguez looks at ball 1. He sat on an off-speed pitch and hammered it. 26th home run, tied for 4th in the American League. Check swing call goes Dominguez's way, and it's a 2-0 count on the Bill Welke safe sign.
Well, Tommy Malone just keeps on giving up the long ball, but a lot of guys are in that category for Chris Carter now.
Aren't they, though? There's a looping line drive hit over second base. Dominguez has an 8-game hitting streak.
Can you get enough for Chris Carter right about now? I think not. Got a pitch right there to handle, and handle it he did. Tommy Malone knew right away where that was ending. Chris Carter just keeps on doing it. And I don't know about you, Brownie, but I'm not growing tired of it.
No, and people are not talking about his strikeouts this year.
It's changed, hasn't it?
Yep. Jason Castro is 0 for 2. Double play depth for Escobar and Dozier, and it's ball 1. And the Astros now have hit 130 home runs. They're 3rd in the American League. And they are now 2nd in the majors in homers since July 1st. They've hit 43. They've now hit 22 homers in the last 15 games. 1 ball, 1 strike. Since George Springer went down with his injury, they've gone 9 and 11 in 20 games. And Carter drove in 20 runs in those 20 games to pick up some of the slack. Santana's on deck. Full foul by Castro. 1-2. Brewers 1, Cubs 1. At Chicago, they're in the top of the 7th inning in a good pitching duel. Giovanni Gallardo for Milwaukee. Jake Arrieta for Chicago. Mark Reynolds hit his 20th home run for the Brewers. Brewers holding down first place in the NL Central by 2 games over St. Louis, 2.5 over Pittsburgh, and 5 over Cincinnati. Strike to Castro. He's caught looking. Strikeout number 5.
Yeah, I don't think Jason liked that call. The corners have been fairly large here this evening, but they've been consistently in that regard.
Domingo Santana has struck out both times tonight, giving him 13 strikeouts and 15 major league at bats. He looks at ball one. Out to second base. Dozier plays it on a bounce. On over to first. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left. Carter ties it with home run number 26. It's 2-2 after 5. Five-hour energy. 5-Hour Energy helps recognize those who, despite their own needs, put others first. It's a tie ball game here at Minute Maid Park. A storm has moved through earlier in the evening, and now it is Twins 2, Astros 2. Identical line scores as we move to the 6th inning and get a new pitcher. From the bullpen, it's Jake Buchanan coming in. Brad Peacock threw 115 pitches, 77 were strikes. In 5 innings, he allowed 7 hits and 2 runs, 1 earned, walking 1, fanning 5. Now it's Buchanan's game.
And Jake, limited opportunities so far in the big leagues, but he does have a record of 1-2. He's done a nice job recently as a starter. 4.95 the ERA.
That last time out was Tuesday at Philadelphia. He got the loss in the 15th inning. He worked 3 2/3, throwing 69 pitches. First pitch here to Suzuki is strike 1. Suzuki is 0 for 2. And even though he entered this game with a terrific batting average with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, he has come up both times in that situation tonight and made outs. That's a strike call. It's 0-2, and that's what Bo Porter likes about Jake Buchanan. He throws strikes. He's retired the first batter 5 times out of 5.
And if Kurt Suzuki's going to just keep taking first pitches, just pump him something early, get ahead and abuse him.
That's what he did. He opens with a strikeout.
It'll be a nice over-the-top breaking ball.
Gotta get over now.
With 1 out now, Buchanan faces Chris Parmelee. Parmelee has struck out both times. He was a late addition to the lineup after the trade of Josh Willingham about an hour before game time. Parmelee looks at ball 1.
Oh yeah, that guy's got it going on.
Oh,
that's a major league do right there.
It's a 1-1 strike count for Parmelee.
There's nothing don't at all about that.
That took careful preparation. 2 balls and a strike. How long do you think it took him to get that haircut?
Well, the haircut was easy. It's whipping it into shape once you got it, though.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd love to have that option. I know that. That option has long ago departed my skull.
3 balls and a strike. Oh, if you could wear any hairstyle you choose, what would it be?
I don't know, anything where my hair has a chance to whip and swing in the breeze. That would be my dream.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Chris Parmelee.
You've still got that ability, but
now there's a style. You might gravitate toward that one.
I could dream.
It's a line shot, right field line, but foul. He was well positioned.
He's proud of the feat he just was able to pull off, too. You may share in my riches, he said to his friends.
Jake Buchanan was called up to make a start in Tampa Bay when Brad Peacock had food poisoning. He took the start. Line shot, Altuve. That's great positioning. 2 outs.
So Altuve and Fan both in perfect position here in the inning on Parmelee. Now, this is one of the things of moving your second baseman into the outfield position a bit. You do give a chance to handle that line drive. A lot of times you're lining up pretty similar to the way you would in the infield.
Escobar moves back from ball 1. Twice he has doubled to right field. Just barely beaten the throw to second from Robbie Grossman. Nice looking breaking ball.
Yeah, 75 miles an hour, changes speeds nicely. He's got a pretty nice feel for the game.
John Singleton is almost camped on the first base line this time. That's just foul.
Fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on you again. But it's not going to happen a third time.
Upstairs, and Escobar takes it. It's 2-2. Foul ball keeps the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes with Jordan Schaefer on deck. Buchanan, with that first start at Tampa Bay, an 8-0 loss, of course, with all the nerves that go with that, gave up 5 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings. Then he went to the bullpen, but came back to make another start here against Toronto. And that was decent. Gave up 3 runs in 5 innings in that one. Got a no decision. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He walked it. 2-out walk puts the speedy Escobar on for Schaefer.
2015 Houston Astros season tickets are on sale right now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Get the best value and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS right now to reserve your seats.
You can do it right now?
Right now is the key there.
So you would say immediately?
I'd say right now.
Jordan Schaefer is 0 for 2 with a fly ball to center and a strikeout looking. Rolled out to second, Altuve in. And on over to Singleton. No runs, no hits, and a man left. 2-2 in the 6th. Batter up John Singleton, bottom of the 6th inning. It's 2-2. The Twins and the Astros playing game 1 of a 3-game series. Singleton has had an infield hit in the 2nd inning and a walk in the 4th. He'll lead it off here in the home 6th inning to be followed by Marisnick and Petit. Against Tommy Milone, shooting for win number 7 of the year. Milone has given up those 7 hits, including home runs by Altuve and Carter. Strike 1. Milone lost his first 3 decisions of the year before he reeled off this 6-game winning streak. Bounces that one for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Interesting that 3 of the top 5 in the American League for run support were on the Oakland pitching staff when Milone was there. He was number 5. Jesse Chavez number 1. Scott Kazmir number 2 in run support.
Well, the Oakland A's continue to be the top scoring club in the league.
High to right field. Parmalee in. 1 out. We go to Julia Morales.
Hey guys, catching up with Jake Marisnick today, who's much more comfortable these days. Really feels like a Houston Astro. You know, he's still one of the new guys in the clubhouse. But as far as gravitating towards players in the clubhouse, he said really everyone's been great. He's kind of found a friendship with a lot of these guys in the clubhouse and working with the hitting coaches. He's very comfortable because he knows John Maley from his days with the Marlins. Also, Ralph Dickinson, very comfortable with these guys. So it was nice to just kind of get into a groove right off the bat with the hitting coaches.
And we've been putting those hits together lately. John Maley and Bo Porter watching as he bats for the 3rd time. He's 2 for 2, and there's strike 1 on an off-speed pitch. Ryan Presley is warming up in the Minnesota bullpen. He's a right-hander. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The Twins bullpen has 30 saves and 39 opportunities. Their closer, Glenn Perkins, an all-star this year. He is outstanding. Foul ball back makes it 1-2 with Gregorio Petit on deck. Malone misses, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Southern Cal has produced a lot of outstanding Major League Baseball players. Tommy Milone coming from that school. Tom Seaver among the outstanding Major League starters to come through Southern Cal.
Not to mention the big unit.
Yeah.
Isn't Randy Johnson a
and
Trojan?
He's eligible for a Hall of Fame next year.
You can't let him slip through that first year, can you?
No. No way.
By that I mean failed to get in. To me, he's first timer.
The Twins pitching staff was next to last in ERA in the American League last year, 4.55. They shelled out some money for some free agents. Phil Hughes, Ricky Nolasco over the winter. That's a shot to center field. Santana played it on a bounce, almost played it behind him, and Marisnick is 3 for 3.
Jake Marisnick is starting a deal, taking advantage of an opportunity to play every day. And as he takes advantage, the Astros get better.
Marisnick, who runs well, is aboard for Petit. Petit walked and he struck out. He takes off. Here's the throw from Mauer to second, and the tag. They get him. It's a caught stealing. 1-3-6 with the tag from Escobar.
Well, that's the case, and we talk about it a lot of times. Left-hand pitcher on the mound, you go on first move if you're going to take that shot. Tell you what, Jake Marisnick might be right. This tag was not snapped down. It was reached, and I think Jake got into the bag ahead of the tag.
Yeah, it looked that way.
Doesn't look like they're going to question that call, but I think Marisnick was safe.
Breaking pitch stays high to Petit.
Watch the reach instead of a slap down of the tag. And I would say that it's very close. I'm not sure you would get that one overturned.
Santana over into right center field. Retires Petit in the 6th. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left after 6. Twins 2, Astros 2.
Astros, and back in the 5th, Chris Carter with his 26th home run of the season tied up the game. A solo shot that hit just above the Crawford boxes. So fans didn't get a chance to catch this one, but I am with my progressive fan of the game. It's Josh, who was sitting just underneath where the ball hit off the wall. But Josh, on the video, you just ducked. You wimped out, man. What happened? Take me through it.
Well, I saw the ball coming, and I had my hat on backwards, and I started reaching for the front. And by the time I found out, it was turned over, and I grabbed it and looked up. The ball was fixing to hit the wall, so I ducked instead of losing some of my teeth. I'd rather go home with my teeth than the ball, but I'm kind of regretting that now.
I was going to say, well, we see you ducking. So are you a little embarrassed?
Kind of, and a little sad.
A little sad, no ball. Maybe you might get a ball before the game's over.
Oh, that'll make my night a lot better.
Well, enjoy the rest of the game. Stop ducking from them. Go out there and get it. Bring your glove next time. Oh.
The one time I forgot my glove, I get a home run hit to me, so that's just my luck.
That's how it goes, right? Brownie, back up to you guys.
Thanks, Julia. There was a bunt single from Santana now, leading off the 7th inning in a 2-2 game. That's hit number 8 for the Twins. Ryan Dozier, the batter. Dozier doubled in the first. He's 1 for 3. 2-8-1, the line score for both teams. He tried to bunt, missed it. Snap throw to first, but Singleton was in tight.
Santana with that bunt single now, 9 for 19 lifetime against Houston pitching.
No balls and a strike. Santana has not measured a huge lead. He draws the throw, though, from Buchanan. The Twins are 5th in stolen bases in the American League with 70. They've been caught 24 times. Dozier, an 8th round pick in '09 from Tupelo, Mississippi. Went to the University of Southern Mississippi. Santana's going. Here's the throw. And Petit with a tag. They get him. Outstanding job by Castro and Petit to gun down Santana from 2 to 6.
Jason Castro's been making some nice throws to the bag. This one a little on that inside portion, but right into the runner coming. And Jason does it on a tough pitch down shoe top height. We'll glance back at the plate. I don't know if that cost him, but dead to rights.
It's 1-1 now. Dozier. Dozier rolls one to first. Here's Buchanan letting Singleton toss to him, and the dive at first, and the ball gets away. Dozier went in head first with the slide. Buchanan could not hold the throw from Singleton. Similar to that play the Astros had in Philadelphia with Josh Fields and Singleton. And there was confusion on their part on that one, so the Astros had some pitchers fielding practice the other day.
Well, Buchanan indicating that he thought it was his fault. But if he holds on to the baseball, he might have gotten the call here.
Yep.
Should have.
Should have.
Actually executed quite well.
Buchanan draws the error for dropping that throw because he would have had Dozier had he held on to it. Joe Mauer has a double and a walk tonight.
Look at the glance. This is what's so tough. You think you've got the baseball. Now you look back to get the bag, but you don't have the baseball.
Yeah, it's that angle.
You know, that was closer at the bag than I thought, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this turns into a hit. I sense an agent getting involved.
Well, agents initiate the challenge process on errors. Now that's the way it's done. For now, it's an error on Buchanan. All 3 errors in the game have been charged to pitchers. Strike to Mauer. Buchanan in his second inning in relief of Peacock. The paid attendance tonight is 15,569 in game 1 of a 3-game set. The Wednesday finale will be a 1:10 start. Vargas is on deck. Mauer looks at a ball, and it's 1-1 to Mauer. Mauer has more walks than strikeouts in his major league career. That's rare. Shoots this one. It's caught by Singleton, and that will be a 3 unassisted double play. A bullet, and Singleton stretches out to snag it. In the 7th inning for the Twins, it's no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and nobody left on this 3 unassisted double play to keep the score tied 2-2.
fun with Astros baseball. Treat your employees, clients, sports team, or any group to a game. We'll create an experience your group is sure to remember. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today.
Seventh inning stretch time. The fans are up in this 2-2 game. And the bullpen has been up for Ron Gardenhire. Ron brings in a right-handed reliever, Ryan Presley, after Tommy Milone goes 6. Presley in 7 games, 1-0 with a 0.93 ERA. Faces Robbie Grossman. Ball 1. Robbie 0 for 3 in this game. Presley pitched 49 times last year for the Twins. He's from Dallas. It's in Highland Village, Texas. Line shot left field. And it's sinking and caught. Jordan Schaefer was fooled by that. He managed to get his glove underneath it. And Grossman lines out. He's 0 for 4.
Yeah, the initial reaction was not to come on and get this baseball. Kind of froze, maybe even flinched back an instant, but a good speed, able to win out in the end. What a nice at bat for Robbie Grossman.
That's 1 out. Schaefer making that catch. Jose Altuve will be next. Altuve has homered and singled in 3 trips tonight. Chris Carter's on deck. Third baseman Plouffe even with the bag. Now he moves in a step. Strike to Altuve. Presley has moved into these late inning assignments with his excellent work. He came up from the minors July 24th. Deals a strike and it's 0-2. At AAA Rochester, Ryan Presley was 1-4 with a 2.98 ERA. Last year he was in the big leagues all season. Rolled out to shortstop. Here's Escobar throwing on the run to Mauer. 2 outs.
And now our Mako big hit of the game. Chris Carter once again. We've done it many a time with Chris. Why not do it again? He launches one to left field. One of a couple of home runs on the night for the Astros. The other Altuve. But right here, Chris Carter doing what he does so well. And he gets the club even.
Now as he comes up, it's 2-2 and 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Carter also has a walk tonight. Presley deals and it's ball 1 to him. Infield is shifted around, playing him to pull. That one misses, and it's 2-0 to Carter. Carter, of course, among the many things he is doing a lot better since July 1st is getting ahead in the count. Two and 1.
That's a tough slider.
Good one to take. As in the past, maybe Chris is swinging at some of these.
Yep.
Matt Dominguez is on deck. Another good pitch by Presley, and it's 2-2.
Good hard sinking fastball.
Home run leaders in the American League. Chris and Big Papi, along with Edwin Encarnacion, all have 26. They're tied for 4th behind Abreu, Cruz, and Trout. Carter in the air to left field. They're getting up, but Jordan Schaefer is right underneath it. For out number 3, we go to the 8th inning. Twins 2, Astros 2. Jose Altuve. And the Astros power their way into the final third of the season with another matchup against Mauer, Dozier, and the Minnesota Twins. Pre-game live tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And now look at that pitching matchup for tomorrow's game, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Johan Pino is the man for the Minnesota Twins, 1-4 with a 4.59. It'll be Colin McHugh trying to make it consecutive starts in effective fashion, 4-9 with a 3.18. He's been a solid pitcher for the club when healthy.
Vargas with a bouncer. Altuve in from the outfield grass to get him. It's a one-pitch out for Buchanan opening the 8th inning here. He's worked 2 1/3 in relief of Peacock. And this is what Jake Buchanan brings to the Astros bullpen as the long man, somebody who can come in and pitch multiple innings. Give the other guys a little bit of a breather. Trevor Plouffe is 0 for 3 with an RBI. You never know when you're going to play 19, Ash. There have been 19 inning games twice now over the weekend.
Yeah, those sounded like a lot of fun. Back-to-back days, I believe, right?
Yep. The Angels won that one Saturday night. Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Each one of those ball games in the 6.5-hour range.
Yeah. Brian Dunsing, a lefty, and Casey Fien, a right-hander, working.
Makes you jealous.
Does it? Past a diving Petit into left center field. A 1-out single for Trevor Plouffe. 3rd hit allowed by Buchanan. Hit number 9 for the Twins. There's another 19-inning game yesterday.
Blue Jays and what was that?
Blue Jays beat the Tigers.
Joey Bats got the game-winning hit.
I sure did.
And a big kiss from one of his teammates at the end of the game. There was R.A. Dickey.
Kurt Suzuki is 0 for 3. This one gets by now. They advance. Bob Plouffe. Castro with the ball behind him couldn't locate it in time, and Plouffe moved to second base on the play.
Yeah, this is just simply boxing one up right here. And rightly awarded pass ball.
9th pass ball for Castro this season. The pitch is ball 1 to Suzuki. Dunsing the lefty. Casey Fien has 21 holds this year. He's been a key bullpen member, setting up the closer Glenn Perkins. Now Castro will come out with the runner at second. The long series of signs. First time Buchanan has worked with the runner at second in this game. It turns into a battle of the pens. Astros bullpen 13-18 with a 4.98 ERA. Marisnick is taking about 5 steps more toward right center. Suzuki looks at it. It's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Suzuki broke in with Oakland in 07. He was Jason Kendall's backup catcher at that time. Line shot left field going into the seats.
Long known as a very good defensive catcher. He's turned into a good offensive player.
Yeah. Especially this year with that high production with runners in scoring position. He's driven in 48. Came up with 2 men on and 2 outs in the first and hit the fly ball caught by Marisnick. In the 3rd inning he had 2 men on and 2 outs, fly to left. Ground ball goes foul, even though the Twins as a team are hitting only .219 with 2 outs and men in scoring position. Suzuki's .349. Currently there's 1 out. Orioles Cardinals 11, Yankees 3, top of the 9th in Baltimore. Brewers 2, Cubs 1, top of the 9th in Chicago.
Those O's have been abusing some teams in recent games.
They have been running up some scores. You're right. Bouncer third. Dominguez looks the runner back. 2 outs.
Astros, Dynamo, Rockets, and more. We've got all your Houston sports news covered with Sportsnet Central, weeknights at 6:10 and midnight, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Chris Parmelee is 0 for 3 tonight. 2 strikeouts and a liner to second. Now Brent Strom comes to the mound. Rockies nothing, Padres nothing. They're in the bottom of the second in San Diego. There are more and more stories, by the way, Jordan Lyles pitching tonight for the Rockies, about that Rockies situation with ownership and the guys who run the team from the front office. Manager Walt Weiss perhaps not on the same page. Troy Tulowitzki throwing out some strong vibes that he may want to be moved after this season. Some people think that the Rockies will make changes in the hierarchy in order to keep Tulowitzki there.
Well, he wants to win, but the thing is, they all want to win. It's not an easy formula.
Now the shift is on for Parmelee. Altuve out in right field. That's where he caught the Parmelee line drive last time up. It's ball 1. Escobar's on deck. Rockies haven't won in a number of years. No doubt has been their general manager for a long time. Bill Guyvett doing a lot of the decision making, and he has an office off the Rockies clubhouse, which hasn't gone down well with a lot of folks in uniform. 2 balls, no strikes. Rays 6, Rangers nothing. Bottom of the 8th in Texas. Drew Smyly working on a shutout. It's a shot on the ground. Past Altuve. Picked up by Grossman. He throws to the plate. And on 1 hop, there's the tag by Castro. Oh, they got him. Great play as Grossman charged. Fired on 1 hop to Castro, who made the tag on Plouffe. And that prevents the Twins from taking the lead. 4th outfield assist from Grossman. It's a beauty. Still 2-2 in the 8th.
All tied at 2 between the Astros and the Twins. So that's what I've been doing, guys. Some stairs. Okay, RBI Baseball is back with all 30 MLB teams and 2014 players. Get the retro 2-button style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBIGame.com for more details and download today on your console and mobile device.
You've been doing the stairs between innings?
I was running upstairs.
Okay.
And I was out of breath.
Is that really necessary?
Well, I was wearing heels, too.
Oh, that's tough.
It was tough.
And Dominguez took, and that was ball one. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Terrific play at the plate. We'll show it to you as we move along here through the bottom of the 8th inning in a 2-2 game, but you don't want to miss a pitch as well. To Matt Dominguez, who will be followed by Castro and Santana. An outstanding throw from Robbie Grossman. Josh Fields warming up for Houston. As the pitch is fouled, it's 1-2. And Brian Dunsing, the lefty, still at work in the Twins bullpen. Good ball game tonight. 2-9-1 for the Twins. 2-8-2 for the Astros. The Twins have stranded 8. The Astros have left 7. That's a strikeout.
So this is what it looked like in actual time. So the base hit shoots through. Robbie Grossman charges, does what you're supposed to, and puts a perfect throw to the plate. And I don't mean just getting the out, but leaving it where it's cuttable. Jason Castro gets that tag on the arm before any plate is touched, and a perfect call. Just ideally done. A lot of comments I've made about throws from the outfield being uncuttable. This time perfectly done by Robbie. And that's not easy for Jason Castro to hang on to that baseball. You get your strong throw on a hop to the plate through your cutoff man. Now you've played real good baseball.
Twins have made a pitching change. They have moved Presley off the mound, and Brian Dunsing is coming in with the score. Twins 2, Astros 2. 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning. Back in a moment.
As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tonight, it is BG11. Oh, that is me. I didn't know I was really in the picture. Tweeting a pic with Jose and Larry Durker, and I am in the way. Get out of the way, Julia. Tweet your photos to hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T.
Jason Castro, the batter. Brian Dunsing delivers, and there's ball one from pitcher number 3 for the Twins. Castro's 0 for 3 in this game. Lefty on lefty as Dunsing comes out of that bullpen. Dunsing has been on a good roll lately. Has an ERA of 1 over his last 21 outings. 2 earned runs allowed in 18 innings. He goes to a 1-1 count. Domingo Santana on deck. Presley went an inning and a third, giving up no hits, no runs. Dunsing 2-2 with a 234. Strike to Castro. That's 1-2. Dunsing is from Marysville, Kansas. Went to the University of Nebraska. Third-round pick in 05 by the Twins. Last year they used him 73 times. He started for them earlier in his career, 28 starts in 2011. Castro fouls it. Midway through the season, they moved him from that rotation to the bullpen. 2012, become a solid reliever. He won both games of a day-night doubleheader against the White Sox.
What is he, Wilbur Wood?
2-2.
Back in the day, knuckleball pitcher, left-hander Wilbur Wood used to pitch for the White Sox. And
yeah.
I believe he had one of those days, maybe even more than one, where being a knuckleball pitcher, he'd be out there both ends of the double dip.
Yeah.
Back when doubleheaders were played routinely.
Yeah, every Sunday. Dunsing was the first pitcher to win both games of a doubleheader for the Twins since the franchise moved from Washington to Minnesota in 1961. They hadn't had a pitcher even in Washington do that since Walter Johnson in 1923 with the Senators.
How many did Walter win that year? Like 48 or so?
Probably.
Yeah, you just don't build them like that anymore.
Time call. Castro moves away from the plate. Well, the Tigers lost to the Pirates in Pittsburgh 11-6. Justin Verlander, the loser, goes to 10-11. The Royals have moved into first place. They beat the Athletics 3-2 in Kansas City. They're a half game in front of Detroit.
When would be the last year that Kansas City, at this date or later in the year, enjoyed first place?
Oh, that's a great question.
George Brett may have been a third baseman on the club when that happened.
That would have been 1985-ish. Yeah. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That was the year the Royals and St. Louis Cardinals met in the World Series. Castro checks his swing. The appeal went to third base. Adrian Johnson with a call, and it's a full count. Adrian's from Houston. Mets beat the Phillies in Philadelphia 5-3. Jonathan Neese winning it. Dunsing backs away, so does Castro. Buchanan lost it for the Phillies, and Familia got his third save for the Mets. Wilbur Wood started both ends of the doubleheader. He is the last pitcher to do so. He lost both of them, though, Ash.
Wilbur was the loser in both. Oh, well.
Yep.
Tough day at the Yard. Hopefully he came back and started the next day's game.
Back in the old days being the 50s, teams used to routinely play Sunday doubleheaders, and Monday was a day off.
Oh, good heavens, you can take it past that date.
Okay. 60s?
Well, I can say in the 70s. I don't know if it was every Sunday, but routinely you played a double dip on a Sunday because either Monday or Thursday was going to be an off day on most occasions, if not all.
This will be the 10th pitch coming to Castro. Dunsing pitched twice against the Astros in that series in Minnesota and gave up the Chris Carter grand slam in one of those. Line shot left field. Schaefer over. 2 outs.
Well, let's go back to that play. Jason Castro at the plate and see how he handled it. That left foot really in a perfect spot where he leaves some home plate for the runner to be able to see. That's living by the letter and the spirit of the laws proposed this year. Then, of course, the tag applied. But that's just done perfectly. Robbie Grossman, #1. And the way Jason Castro handled that play, ideal.
Domingo Santana's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts tonight. Ball 1. Had a chat with Carlos Corcoran about those new rules about a catcher not being able to block the plate before the game tonight. It's 2 balls, no strikes. He said it's really difficult. He said, you know, I try to come in front of the plate, take the throw, and then go back for the tag. But that's not the way I've been doing it my whole life.
I would agree it is difficult, and some throws will take you right into the line. I thought Robinson Chirinos, the catcher for the Texas Rangers, got away with one yesterday.
Yep.
But we've seen the call go both ways on that play.
2-2. Chirinos did not leave a sliding lane for Matt Dominguez.
He stuck that foot in the path prior to getting the baseball, and that's where I feel that he went wrong. But Matt Dominguez agreed too, and he was immediately saying, hey, wait a minute, that wasn't right, but he didn't have things go his way.
Now 3-1 to Santana. Santana worked the count full in the 4th inning before he struck out swinging. Still looking for his first major league hit. They let the bat go, but it's 3-2 now. Santana 0 for 16 to start his major league career.
That's a pretty good swing right there. I thought Santana had a purpose with that swing, and that purpose may have been to launch one, but nothing wrong with that.
And he struck him out. That ends the 8th inning, and it's Minnesota 2, Houston 2, moving to the 9th. Up on El Grande. Meanwhile, Josh Fields is warming up for the 9th inning. He'll be pitcher number 3 for the Astros. Jake Buchanan did a marvelous job. 3 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Fields is 2-4. His ERA is 4.53.
He has been well beyond solid work in the last couple of months. And it reflects in some of the numbers, not all of them. The ERA, I would say, is deceptive a bit. Early on in the year he had his struggles. Right-hand hitters, though, have been abused by him.
The Twins with their lefty closer Glenn Perkins warming up, and right-hander Jared Burton are getting prepared for the bottom of the 9th inning. Here in the top of the 9th, it's Eduardo Escobar leading it off. He has a pair of doubles and a walk tonight. Also has scored a run. Santana moves over closer to the line, and there is strike 1. Escobar, for some reason, backed away from home plate. If he had been asking for timeout, he didn't get it from Bob Davidson. Buchanan, 3 scoreless innings, giving up 3 hits, walking 1, fanning 1. Bouncer goes foul, and that's the 3rd time Jake has pitched at least 3 innings in relief this year for the Astros. 0-2 for Fields. Fields pitched in the Saturday game against the Rangers, going an inning and 2/3, giving up 1 hit, no runs, and the Astros 8-3 win. He's been mixing in his changeup more liberally in recent games. It's 1-2. Burton and Perkins. Buchanan's 3-inning effort really helps the other guys in the pen. It's pretty rare that a pitcher will come in that situation and go 3 these days. The score was tied 2-2 when he entered the game in the 6th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Since Fields came back from Oklahoma City May 14th, he's had a 1.71 ERA. He gets a punch out on Escobar. Escobar gave him strike 1. 1 out.
Well, the high fastball, even in the strike zone, is tough to hit off of Josh Fields. If you're going to offer on that pitch up out of the strike zone, next to no chance.
Now Schaefer, who's 0 for 3. The Astros have Singleton, Marisnick, and Petit up in the bottom of the 9th. Schaefer was with the Astros in 2011 and 2012. That's ball 1 to him. Hit 242 and 302 at bats for the Astros in 2011, driving in 13 runs. He is a base stealer, though, and if he gets on, that could be to the Twins' advantage. 2 balls, no strikes. Schaefer, part of that big trade in July of 2011, the Michael Bourne deal. He and Brett Oberholzer. Paul Clemens, Abreu coming in the trade from Atlanta to Houston. Fouls it back, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. The Marlins edged the Cardinals in Miami 6-5. Tom Kohler going to 8-9 with a win over Shelby Miller. That's his record as well. Steve Cishek got his 30th save. Giancarlo Stanton, 2 home runs to give him 31. He set a Marlins record in that win. I'll look up what that is for you in a moment. Big cut there by Schaefer, and it's 2-2. 13th career multi-home run game for Stanton. And he also tied Hanley Ramirez for second place on the club's all-time home run list with 148. Marisnick playing in left center. Now it's 3-2. Fields pitched once in the series in Minnesota. Pitched scoreless baseball for an inning and 2/3. The Astros shooting for win number 50 of the season. Last year they won 51. That's a 1-out walk, and Schaefer's aboard. He is 4 for 4 in steals. As a major leaguer, he is 77 for 97 in steals. So he may test the Astros here with Santana the batter. Santana is 3 for 4. Santana tried to steal in the 7th inning, and he was gunned down by Castro. Dominguez is on the grass. Strike 1. Castro's thrown out 19 in 73 attempts this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. 23% for Castro for the season. Dozier's on deck, and Dozier has 20 home runs this year. Back in the 4th inning, Brad Peacock made a pickoff throw to first on Santana and threw the ball away. Escobar scored. Santana wound up at 3rd, but he was stranded there. So that run was unearned. Runner going. Popped up. Dominguez near 3rd base. Schaefer getting back. He will not make a throw. 2 outs. And now Dozier will bat.
Josh Fields has really tried to help himself out with not exactly a slide step, but a kind of a mini version of his delivery to help in terms of the running game. And yet Schaefer trying at this stage of things to see if he can pick a bag.
Dozier doubled the first time up. He's 1 for 4. There goes Schaefer. And the throw from Castro to Altuve. Safe. 5th steal for Schaefer in as many tries this season. Pitch with ball 1.
Not all Castro could do. He made a good throw. Came out firing beautifully. That's ideal. Now Altuve did the right thing, just snapping it down. You get that man that's by you more times than you think.
Now a little conference. Castro and Fields. It's 1-0 on Dozier. Mariners and Blue Jays are in the bottom of the 4th in Seattle. 2-1 Mariners. Blue Jays had a long flight from Toronto to Seattle after yesterday's 19-inning game. Curveball, and Dozier looks at it. It's 2-0. Drew Hutchison is getting the start for Toronto against King Felix Hernandez. Things have worked well for Seattle so far this year. Skipper Lloyd McClendon. Fouled straight back. And it's 2-1 for Dozier. Jack Sorensic, the general manager, was under some pressure over the winter. With the changes the Mariners have made, especially Robinson Cano. A much improved Seattle season.
He's been a terrific player for Seattle. Yeah, I can't say there's been, other than the home run portion of his game, that there's been any drop off from what he did for the Yankees.
Third ball off the plate. 3-1. Well, he's not hitting as many homers, but that was understood coming into this season. But he certainly is taking advantage of all fields in that huge Seattle ballpark, hitting for a high average.
And his offensive game, and rightly so, gets all the attention, but he's really good defensively as well.
He sure is. Big 3-1 pitch. Dozier gets underneath it. Foul pop. Dominguez over. It's back into the seats, though. 3-2 now to Dozier with Mauer on deck. We talked about it earlier. That's the fact that both these clubs appear to be vastly improved last year. The Twins won 66 games. They have 52 wins right now. The Astros won 51 games. They have 49 right now.
Well, there's no doubt for Houston that they're moving in the right direction.
That's ball 4. Dozier takes a 2-out walk. Second walk of the inning. And it brings up Mauer. Mauer's 1 for 3, a double, and also has drawn a walk. Last time up, he laced the ball, lining into a double play. And Brent Strom is coming out. And talking with Carlos Corcoran before the game, question came up about how he feels the Astros have improved. And he did that double take. And, big improvement this year. Talked about all the one-run losses. The Astros 13-21 in one-run games. A lot of those games last year would not have been close the way they are this year. He just feels that the core group of players being together is helping to solidify things right now, helping to make it a better team. And he said it could only help if we keep that group together another year. He talked about all the different pitchers he and Jason Castro worked with last year. Now some of the important guys in the bullpen have come back again this year, and they are on the same page. He said some of our starters want different targets set up in different spots, and we've had a chance to learn that now.
On the offensive side, you need George Springer and Dexter Fowler to remain healthy and be a part of this lineup nightly.
Dexter could be back in 24 hours. From what we're hearing, things go well tonight in his rehab game for Oklahoma City. Mauer takes it. There's strike 1 to Joe. Earlier in the game, he extended his hitting streak to 13 games. Altuve's out in right field. But this is a different kind of shift. Petit is still well over toward third. Mauer takes a ball because Mauer does hit the ball hard to left or second base.
Yeah, he, like most left-hand hitters, will hit it in the air quite a bit in that direction. But Joe Mauer is such a good hitter, he'll put it on the ground in that direction.
.329 career average with runners in scoring position. It's 2-1 to Mauer. Vargas is on deck.
Walking Mauer is not the worst thing in the world. I would rather continue to pitch him tough and walk him than give in and throw something through the heart of the plate.
That is an excellent point. There's a base open, and it's third. In the air and outside the left field line, it goes back into the seats. 2-2. Kenny Vargas is on deck. Mauer much more selective than Vargas. He's just played a few major league games. Now a full count. Schaefer at second, Dozier at first. They'll be heading for the next base on this next pitch. Former Twin Kevin Correa won his Dodgers debut tonight and beat the Braves in Atlanta 6-2. Beating Julio Teheran. Mauer with a ground ball hit into left field will give the Twins the lead. Santana throwing into the infield now as the runner goes to the plate. Now he throws late, and it's a 2-run rotation here in the ninth inning for the Twins. Mauer with a single through the left side. Santana looked at second. Altuve was not there. Then he held the ball, and then the second runner, Dozier, was able to come home before he could get it to the plate.
Never hold the ball, but I think what Santana's saying out there with Marisnick is I didn't have a clear-cut cutoff man to throw to. Matt Dominguez was at third base, And it would generally be the third baseman that's your cutoff man. Watch as this play sets up. And again, there's Joe Mauer. He's a straight-up hitter for me. Where do we throw? Matt Dominguez is staying at the back, but I think he needs to get in that cutoff position and invite his shortstop to move into the bag at third. For me, that's how that should be set up. But never hold the baseball in the outfield.
So Dozier scores from first, and it's 4-2. And Mauer winds up at second with Vargas batting. Vargas flares it foul. There's strike one to him. It should be 1 RBI from Mauer. Oh, it's 2 runs batted in from Mauer.
No way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How could you justify that base hit drove in 2 runs? Indecision drove in a run.
Right. Vargas fouls it back, and it's 0-2. Santana very perplexed, and Dozier took that opportunity and that moment of indecision to come home. So the rookie left fielder will learn from that. Now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Joe Mauer doing his Joe Mauer thing, hitting the other way for the base hit, and that's key. But, well, that was gutsy to go ahead and take off from third base. The fact that the Twins had a 1-run lead at that point led to that gutsy decision.
Vargas strikes out. 2-run scoring on 1 hit with a man left. And it's 4-2 Twins. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Bottom of the order due up for Houston. Comcast Sportsnet is presented by The Expendables 3. Hang on for one last ride in theaters Friday. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Now there's the outfield coach, Tarek Brock, and Domingo Santana talking over that play on which the Twins scored not 1 but 2 runs to take a 4-2 lead.
Yeah, and I have the sense that Santana's saying, look, I didn't know who to throw to. There was no cutoff man set up for me. I guess what Tarek Brock would say is get it back in one way or the other. Let the infielders deal with it. Nobody's going to try to move 90 feet with an infielder holding the baseball. But we learned right there that it will happen with an outfielder holding it.
Now Glenn Perkins, the all-star closer, throws strike 1 to John Singleton. Singleton has an infield hit, a walk, and a fly ball to right. Dunsing could be the winning pitcher. Bryan with 2/3 of an inning, allowing no hits, no runs with a strikeout. Perkins deals ball 1, and it's 1-1. Well, the Twins have gotten hitless relief from Presley, Dunsing, and now they hope that Perkins can give them that finishing opportunity here with a 2-run lead. That second run could be awfully big.
Brownie, we talked about that game where the Astros hit a couple of grand slams. It was Perkins on the hill when John Singleton launched his bomb. So there's some memory there for Mr. Singleton.
That was a 14-5 game. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Perkins has converted 16 straight save opportunities on the road since April 3rd against the White Sox. This was his second straight All-Star year. Popped up behind the dish. Suzuki back. The mask flying toward third base. He won't have a play on it. Perkins got the save in the All-Star game with a scoreless 9th. And that's quite a story because the game, as you know, was played at Target Field. And he's a native of St. Paul, Minnesota. And went to the University of Minnesota. Big Ten Pitcher of the Year in 2004.
I sense a theme.
And Perkins, 31 years old, is the 22nd player drafted in the 2004 draft. He's a starting pitcher. Back in 2008, he made 26 starts. He was 12-4 that year with a 4.41 ERA. No one gets by Suzuki. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Then turned to closing full time in 2012. 16 for 20 in saves that year. Last year he was 36 for 40. And he really limits the walks. 15 walks in 62 innings last year. That's strike 3. 1-out. We go to Howard Chen.
Thanks a lot, Brownie. Well, earlier we asked on Twitter who you think will be the hottest Astros hitter over the remaining month and a half of the season. Houston Counterplot tweeted, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Marisnick is going to put together a very solid last month and a half, already turning it on. Brian Harder tweeted, Orbit will be the hottest hitter over the last month and a half with all the trolling hits on visiting players. Thank you very much for tweeting me at Ho-Chen CSN. Brownie, back to you.
Jake Marisnick, the batter. He hits the fly ball near the right field line. It's going foul. Long run here for Parmalee, and it's a foul ball for strike 1. Marisnick 3 for 3 tonight. We're getting an amended ruling on that single by Mauer in the top of the 9th inning. It's ruled a single, 1 RBI, and then a fielder's choice allowing Dozier to score. So just 1 RBI for Mauer. Nonetheless, it gave the Twins the lead. Strike 2 Marisnick, and it's 0-2. The rule book says if the runner stops and takes off again when the runner notices a misplay, the official scorer should credit the run as scored on a fielder's choice. Looping line drive to left. That's in for a hit, and Marisnick is 4 for 4.
Yeah, he's starting to look mighty good as the Astros center fielder for the moment. Jose Altuve is providing insights for his young left fielder. Well, it's got to be a very frustrating time for Santana. The bat has not been there for him, and now defensive plays pop up, and they're costly late in the ball game. You want to feel a part of the team, but for the moment, that's got to be tough.
It has to be tough. Now Petit is 0 for 2 with a walk. Dribbles one third base line. Here's Perkins hurrying over, barehanding, throwing low. Mauer comes up with a big play. And that's out number 2 on the stretch into foul ground by Mauer, with Marisnick taking second.
That was slick as can be by Joe Mauer, longtime catcher. And, of course, he's had plenty of work at first base, but changing into foul territory and maintaining a foot on the bag on a tough aired out throw from a pitcher, that is very well done. This thing's coming with some heat. He in the dirt, crossing in front of the runner. A lot of guys would struggle on that throw.
Yes, they would. Robbie Grossman bats. Ball 1 to Robbie. He is 0 for 4 tonight. Last time up on that fly out, he hit it on the button to left field. Altuve on deck. It's 1-1. Perkins has a great walk to strikeout ratio again this year. 9 walks, 59 strikeouts. He's in his 50th inning. One hopper to first. Mauer has it, and the Twins win it 4-2. Mauer gets the go-ahead hit, and Mauer makes a big play in the 9th inning on that low throw, and then gets the final out of the game. Perkins saving it for Dunsing, and the Twins have taken game 1 of this series. Final score: Minnesota 4, Houston 2.